Hey everyone, old school Pokemon here. I'm back again with the PokeFlipz podcast, episode number 48, joined by my usual co-host, Catch 'em All Collectibles, Dan. How we doing today, Dan?
Excellent. How are you?
I'm doing well. Excited for another episode here.
As always, yep. Looking forward to it. 3.5 hours of talking hobby, talking business. Always a good time. Just
Definitely.
as we normally do, we do have. I apologize, I guess up front. We had Rusty on, kind of not unplanned. Obviously, we planned it, but we had two guests in a row, so it was kind of like a little bit out of our norm for our schedule. Anyways, I held the 3 questions from the prior podcast, and we intended to answer them after Rusty had to leave around 3 p.m. I forgot to ever get to those. So we'll start today's episode with not only episodes from last podcast, but questions from the podcast prior that I accidentally forgot. So we have several of those to get through to start off. And then we also wanted to announce our next guest. I actually leaked it on the end of my live stream yesterday. Nick, if you want to let everyone know who we've got on for 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, so 2 weeks from today, our next guest will be Squeaks. So really excited for that one. I've never, well, I guess we talked to him a little bit in Pikachu's live stream. But yeah, never really talked to Squeaks in person. I've talked to him through Facebook a couple times, but really looking forward to that one. That'll be another fun guest to have on.
Yeah, I last night I said the same thing to my wife. I was like, I've actually never been on a live stream with Squeaks. And then I'm like, no, wait, I actually was. But there was like 10 people, so I couldn't really talk to him at all. It's not like we had much direct interaction between us. But yeah, that was a fun stream. But it'll be nice to be able to get a little more selfishly, get some more time to interact directly with Squeaks. Looking forward
definitely.
to it. But yeah, with that, we'll hop right into the questions. So again, it says 10 days ago there, but it was actually more like 3 weeks ago than that. Stuart asked, how do you handle GSP item not as described claims? I recently had a GSP buyer say an item wasn't as described and threatened to escalate. I ended up caving and refunding them 20% of what they paid to avoid a mess because I didn't know how eBay would respond. Let eBay respond. Let eBay handle it is always my answer. If the item ends up, I'm presuming that they were claiming it got damaged or something. eBay GSP doesn't work exactly like Authenticity Guarantee does. I don't know the full extent. Like Authenticity Guarantee, they'll open it up. If you use a stock photo and you send something with a different cert number, they'll reject it. If your case gets a slight crack or something, they'll reject it. I don't know the full details on the lengths to which GSP goes, but they definitely do something. And if and when it gets damaged, like because of their repacking and because of their shipping, they'll just cover it. You ask them to open the case, eBay will, within like an hour, they'll usually say, we closed it for the buyer, no effect to you. Basically like, yeah, we got this one. We'll give them a refund if necessary, but it's not going to come out of your pocket. So that's my experience with GSP at least. Anything to add or any different experiences?
No, I have the same experience as you. Yeah, once your item reaches the fulfillment center in Kentucky, you basically just wash your hands of it, and anything that happens after that is eBay's problem, and eBay's really good about handling that stuff. So definitely communicate with the buyer, tell them to open in item not a described case or item not case, and just have that case escalate to eBay, and let them deal with it.
Yep. This one ended up getting really smushed down small, but another question, if this doesn't come up naturally some other way, have you seen eBay's new offer interface? Buyers have to confirm your payment details / address and commit to pay before offering. If the seller accepts, it automatically charges the buyer. Will this entice you to allow offers on more things? And do you think eBay will ever put this feature on auctions? I think that's an amazing change. One of the multiple reasons I don't have offers on 99% of my listings was that people would send offers, I would accept, and then they would not pay. Because sometimes it would be 30 seconds, and sometimes, to be fair, it would be like a day and a half until I would think over their offer and then ultimately accept it. There were times, though, literally where they sent an offer, less than 5 minutes later I accepted, and then they declined to pay. They either said, "Oh, I offered you 100, but I actually meant to offer 90, or I'd rather offer you 90 now because basically now that you've accepted it, they think to themselves like, oh, maybe I could have offered less and still gotten it." So buyer's remorse. So that one being taken out of the scenario, that one being taken off the table, makes me more optimistic on it, but I still don't intend to. I still don't think I'll add offers on too many, just because I don't know about you. I have 2,000, 2,500 buy it nows. I get daily offers on items that don't have offers. Most of them I'm just like, nope, this is a buy it now. There's no best offer for a reason. Occasionally, though, if it's an older listing, if it's reasonable, if I'm listed for 150 and they say, hey, can you do 130, whatever, I mean, I'll let it go sometimes. But I get tons of offers without even having it enabled. If and when I ever added it, I would just have to set really high auto declines, and the volume that I have, I don't really think I need best offers. I try to price things lowest on the market, buy it now, and just let it go by itself.
Yeah, I really like the new feature where eBay requires payments for the offers. It doesn't seem to be the case with everyone though. Like I still have offers where people can send an offer and it doesn't show that little text box saying that the buyer agreed to immediate payment. So hopefully eventually that'll roll out to where anytime someone sends you an offer, they have to send immediate payment, and hopefully down the line that'll eventually roll out to auctions, because the whole non-paying buyer with best offers, in my experience, it's not really an issue for me. Most of the time when someone sends me an offer, I accept that offer. They're going to send payment. The biggest thing for me with non-paying buyers is the auctions. That's a huge problem for me. And every single week there's at least a couple non-paying buyers for me. But yeah, just to talk about offers for a quick minute here. I actually have offers on pretty much everything that I have listed. I do buy it now for stuff between 99 cents and $14.99, and then everything above $15 has the best offer option. Some items I'll accept like an offer a couple dollars less than my buy it now, but it's pretty close to my buy it now pricing. Other times I'll knock 10-20% off, depending upon if they're buying like multiple cards or not. And that's just kind of how I've always done it, and I think I'll stick to doing it that way. I get a decent amount of offers every day, but it's definitely manageable, and you're able to kind of blow through it and counter offer everyone. It does become a pain sometimes when you kind of get those nickel and dimers. Well, like say I have something listed for $20, someone sends me an offer for $10. I counter them at say like $15. They'll come back and say $12.50. I'll counter back at 15. Then they'll go 13, 14. That does get to be annoying, but for the most part, most people are good about just either accepting it or declining it, which is nice.
And yeah, just something I wanted to add too, because I guess I didn't really cover the auction part. If eBay were to add that to the auction part, that would be amazing. I mean, as someone who doesn't even use auctions, I guess only occasionally on the buyer side, they should make it so, yeah, like if you place a bid, you're just automatically charged when the item finishes, right? If you're the winning bidder, that would be glorious. I doubt they ever will, though. I doubt they will ever add too many things that add to buyer accountability, but this offer thing, really, really nice. Overall, yeah, I guess the way that I set up best offers, I'm just not a huge fan. Because like if I list something for 80 or best offer, say I list something for $79.99, buy it now. I mean, you can message me, and some people do. They message me, hey, will you take 70? Will you take 75? Whatever. They just circumvent the whole fact that I don't have best offer enabled. But they either got to buy it or not buy it, right? That's what I want. I want people to not talk to me and to buy it or to not buy it. I mean, I don't need you to buy it, but if you want to buy it, buy it. And then we'll carry on. I'll ship it the next day and we won't talk to each other. But when I put $79.99 or best offer, they know that I'll take less. And if I don't, they'll get frustrated. Like one thing that I've seen, actually, I don't know if you ever remember the seller Wow Loot Sellers. I think he's still around, but he used to have tons of great stuff priced well. For whatever reason, he'd put best offer on everything. And I myself, like the first couple times I interacted with him, I'm like, you have this thing for 80 or best offer. I'm offering to buy 50 of them, which is like a $4,000 purchase. And he'd send me an offer for like $79.50. Like I'd offer 70, I'd offer 75, trying to get like a bulk discount. And for the first couple times, I like a little bit of that entitlement, little bit of I'm entitled to a better price because I'm buying so much. But then when I really thought it through, it's like he has no reason that he has to go low. Like it's kind of annoying that he has best offer, given that he won't go any lower. Like why not just go $79.99, buy it now? I'll just like I still liked the 80 price. I just wanted it lower because I saw best offer. So that's kind of what I worry. Like I have 2,500 listings in my store. If I throw best offer on everything, people will want a discount on everything, and it just adds that extra step. Right now, in the item sells, it sells. Adding that extra step of having to, do I want to take this, consider the price, click the button. I don't want to add that extra step to 20 orders a day or however many it is. I just don't want that. And then overall, like I think I'll just get less money. I think it'll take me longer and I'll get less money because everyone will know I'm open to accepting some amount less on everything when they see that best offer. And then if I don't, like say they offer me 75 and I have it priced at 80 and I check quick and like, oh, 80 is actually really reasonable. If I have best offer enabled and I won't come down some like preset, whatever percent people think they're entitled to getting a discount, given that there's best offer, because people do that. Again, I said myself, I used to do it to some extent. If, oh, he won't even come down 5%, why even have best offer? So I don't want that negative potential interaction. So yeah, those are just more of the reasons why I don't do it, I guess. But interesting, really interesting policy change, really good overall for sellers, I guess.
Yes.
I'm assuming that it auto charges. They can still request a cancel. They can still like force a cancel return if they claim, if they want to. eBay's still too overly buyer side, in my opinion, as both a buyer and a seller on the platform. But that is what it is. Next question. Yeah, this one was definitely on the last episode because now that you are in the big leagues and receiving ad revenue, where will we see this money spent? Wow, what are we gonna do? I haven't looked at our metrics in a while. Well, I haven't looked at our metrics like at all because I always look on my phone and I'm not logged into this one on my phone. What do we got? Like $10 a month rolling in? Something like that? How are we gonna spend it all?
Something like that. We might be able to go to like McDonald's next time we visit each other.
We can at Collecticon in Orlando, we can go to McDonald's, buy like 3 large fries, and everyone that's there can get like 1 French fry from it, so we can share our ad revenue. That's potentially that's a potential outcome for it. We'll have to see. There
we go. Yeah, we haven't quite reached the status where we can buy a round of drinks for everyone just yet. Maybe one of these days, though.
Yeah. Yeah, as of right now, I guess, not that we have much production costs, right? I mean, I put a little bit into lighting in the background and things like that. I guess it's just recouping some of that money for now. We both kind of upgraded our setups a little bit, and right now we're in the recoup phase. But if we ever become flush with cash, we'll have to figure that out, but I think we're a ways away from that.
Yeah, so some of us have improved their backgrounds more than others.
I mean, you did some. I wasn't gonna say that, but Nick went and said it.
Oh man.
Okay, before we get into the questions, so that was the cutoff for the questions I missed from the prior episode. I had 2 just highlighted comments that I thought were really funny that I wanted to throw up on screen quick. So yeah, Gemmit Pokemon, we had him in chat last episode when we were lucky enough to have Rusty with us. Talking about the no damage Ninetales. Gemmit Pokemon said, Nick is so lovable that when he attacks, he does no damage. That's basically the explanation, the origin story for why Nick loves no damage Ninetales. And I thought that was a fitting story. A fitting theory, I guess.
I like it.
I wanted to highlight that one. And then another one, Stuart, who had the couple questions to start the show. He said if there were a beard Pokemon, Nick would be the basic, Rusty the stage 1, and Dan the stage 2. That was a pretty good one, too. So, a couple little funny comments to split up the questions, but we'll dive right back into the questions.
Speaking of,
go ahead.
Speaking of the ad revenue, we're gonna have to refund some of the super chats with the about me with the beard since I shaved it off after that episode, and then Rusty actually did the same. I hardly recognized him when he went live the other night, Tuesday night.
Oh, I did pop in quick. I popped in quick for his Neo Destiny. Did he end up... I looked at his website the next day, and the packs weren't available anymore. Did he pull them, or did they actually fully sell out?
I only watched a couple minutes of that break, but I went onto his website before the live stream started, and he had only sold like 4 packs out of it. So I would find it tough that he sold out of all the packs during the live stream, but maybe he did.
I jumped in a couple times. I think the first few packs that he opened were like non-holos. So I think that the odds were going up, right, as the stream went on.
Yep.
I want to say I looked midstream. One time I popped in, there were only like 26 left. So I think some sales did pick up. I don't know if the box just got really juicy, got really hot. And so, like, basically, like the box was cold, non-holo. I remember John, Pokemon Radar, did a stream on Whatnot a couple of years ago now, like in the main hype, maybe a little over 2 years ago, late 2020, peak hype. And I think I bought in 3 packs late in the box because there were so few holos pulled, and I ended up going 3 for 3 on holos. That was
neat.
Yeah, that was really cool. And I remember Zach was in there. Zach was hanging out in the chat too in that Whatnot stream. I think he ended up buying a couple. But yeah, I kind of I'll have to follow back up on that. Check the comments or kind of
Orniter. Sorry, I probably butchered that there, but he did sell during a live stream, and they pulled a Shining Mewtwo and Tyranitar.
Oh, awesome! I was kind of hopeful that he had. Because I saw, like you, it was only a few packs before he went live. But then I saw maybe an hour in, he had sold several, if not like 10 or slightly more. And then it seems like it just got rolling. Like people got hyped for it. That's good to hear. I'm glad he sold out. Before this one leaves, I don't know why I can't see. Okay, there it is. I was going to say, I can't see the super chat on my screen for my highlighted message. But there it is. The Zard Hunter comes in with lies. He says Section 70 greater than Section 71. Just because
that is 100% true.
Just because it's in fancy font, fancy coloration, doesn't mean it's true. It's lies. $2 to spread lies. Section 71 will beat Section 70 in gross sales and net sales. We'll have to do some kind of a competition. Maybe we can set up the terms of it. That would
be fun, actually.
Maybe we can set up the terms of it during the live stream, but I'm down. I mean, I believe in my section. So not even like making it a monetary loss. I don't want to like volunteer other people to make a bet, make a gamble, but I'm comfortable if you want to. So if your section beats mine, how would we do it though? I guess we'd have to, we couldn't do for the whole convention, right? Because not everyone's going to be there like Sunday night. But Saturday.
That's true.
I
guess we can just do Saturday.
It's like an honor system thing, but I would be comfortable saying, and feel free to accept or decline. Gross sales, everyone self-reporting, honor system. Obviously, you got to trust in people, but gross sales head to head. because net would be too complicated. I don't even know what my cost basis is on so many cards. But yeah, like I'll buy your whole section around if your section beats mine on Saturday. And then, I mean, same the other way around. So for basically first round, yeah, virtual handshake. We got to turn this way. We got to do it like off screen like this. Oh, you can't see me. That's right. You can't see me live. Forgot about that. But yeah, we'll do that then. We got a friendly competition that whoever wins gross sales on Saturday gets a free round from the I guess the captain of the other team, the one who booked the section.
There we go. I like it.
So section 71, you guys better not let me down. Let me get back to the questions.
I'm gonna fire sale everything just so I can beat you.
Sell everything at like a 50% loss just to get a high gross so that you don't lose like $100 bet. Oh man. Those I mean, I don't know where we're gonna end up, but probably in like the hotel bar on a trade night. So it's probably gonna be like $10-12 beers or something. That probably is like $120 bet. I don't know how to pronounce this one, so I'm not gonna try. Maybe Lajski. I guess I went for it. Very nice to hear you guys covering the topic of how to build up a solid inventory if possible. It would be very nice to hear you elaborate more on that in one of the future episodes. Being based in Europe, it is a bit difficult for me to hit the live, so hereby a request in advance. Well, thanks for dropping the question, Lajski. I hope I said your name correctly. But it's hard to just give like a singular answer because I don't really know if you're specializing in something specific or what your niche is. So I guess just kind of like describing my path, my journey. Long and slow, like slow and steady. It wasn't like a super quick thing, but in 2014, my bread and butter was just buying large lots, breaking them down, grading what needed to be graded, flipping those, getting the most premium, selling on the best platform, everything I can. You're in eBay, so I don't know if you're using Card Market. I don't know if you're using eBay. I don't know if you're sending internationally to like consignments, PWCC Heritage, eBay consigners, whatever it may be. So yeah, it's hard to say like definitively do XYZ, but for me it was just largely buying and flipping lots and collections, and I still do a lot of that today. I mean, the recent massive binder collection that I bought, the numbers have gotten bigger and some things have changed. Obviously the market's bigger and different, but largely I'm doing a lot of the same things. And it's just, you can't skip that time factor. It doesn't all happen overnight. So time is really important.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what you're saying. The time factor is definitely the biggest thing. I remember back when I was first starting out and had very minimal inventory. I would look at people like Rusty, Gary, who had like unbelievable inventories, and be very jealous of them. But you slowly build up inventory over time. It's going to take years and years and years and years to build up a good inventory. But you just got to take it one day at a time and know that it's like a snowball effect where you're going to start off small and then slowly you're going to build up more and more cash flow, more and more inventory, and things will start to get a little bit easier. One day you'll probably reach the point where you're regretting having so much inventory because it becomes overwhelming. So enjoy these days of having a small inventory while it lasts. But another thing, like Dan said, was I would say if you're first starting out, definitely find a niche that you enjoy. So, for example, with me, when I first started out, I was exclusively base set, and then I moved into Jungle and Fossil, and then slowly moved into Team Rocket, Gym Heroes, Nintendo era, or the EX era, modern stuff. It doesn't all happen overnight. You wanna learn one aspect before you kind of get into all these other aspects. So that's a good suggestion too, is to start out with whatever niche you enjoy doing, and start there, and then kind of work your way onward.
I like it. Good stuff. Poke Family Gaming asked, other than a cert being deactivated and the seller trying to be dishonest or having multiple quantity, is there a reason some sellers block out the cert number on their eBay listings? Some of it. One thing that I have heard that is valid, privacy. So say I'm a collector only, and say I grade my own cards. If I show you this beautiful shadowless PSA 9 Ghastly, you get the cert number. And what you can do with that cert number, you can go to the cert lookup and you can look 100 cards in either direction, and you can see, you can build out exactly what I had in that submission. To me, I don't care. I'm a business. I list it all on my eBay. I post it all on my Instagram. You can see it all. But I can see where some very private collectors, they submit an illustrator and they don't want people to know that they submitted 3 at a time. Or they submitted an illustrator and an SSB and a TMB. And like think about it from that perspective. Submission to submission. Like, obviously, if you're just buying all your things individually and you're not the one submitting them, people might look up your cert. They might think, oh man, this guy posted this, 5 cards this way, 5 cards this way, are all these cards. They might think you own those when you don't, because you just bought it, right? But all of that goes back to the same thing. If they have no interest of selling it, I don't think they owe you showing the cert. They don't owe you showing the card at all. So I think it's valid and it's reasonable to just post things without certs, like if you're not selling it. But then it's that weird scenario that pops up. If you're selling it, the cert is tied to the authenticity of the item. You really have to show it. But then what people do is they browse eBay, they make their counterfeits based off of the certs they find on eBay. It's like, it's not a great situation all around. But yeah, I think you said other than, and then you said like the main 2 reasons. So the main 3 reasons, I guess. But the 4th one that I could think of would just be like privacy. Hey, I submitted this submission of 50 cards. I don't want you to know all 50 cards in that submission. Can you think of any other?
No, that privacy does make sense. I know some people like to be very private. For me, that's a kind of a weak reason, but I'm an open book. So to me, I wouldn't do it. But yeah, that one does make sense. That's another good reason, but I can't think of any others. The biggest thing for me is, if you're going to block the cert number, you also have to block the barcode. There's so many people that block the cert number and leave the barcode like wide open, and you can just take your phone and scan that barcode. And
the only thing I will say on that, like Rusty blocks only the cert number but not the barcode, but he's not doing it to hide what the cert number is. He's doing it so that the buyer doesn't buy it and then compare their card to the photo and say, like, you sent me a different one. Because he does the stock photo thing. I actually do the stock photo thing too, but I show the cert number. There's been a couple times where it came back to bite me. But like, yeah, people, I mean, I don't think there's ever going to be a circumstance where somebody gets a card in under one of Rusty's stock photos and says like, hey, wait, the barcode doesn't match. I mean, theoretically, they could scan the barcode in his stock photo picture, but just the fact that he gets rid of the cert number and says that it's a stock photo, I think he's going to always be safe, and he's going to really not have headaches around that.
Yeah, that is true. That is true there. But you listing stock images now, that's a change from last time we talked about that. 'Cause last time you were doing one at a time, and you just had multiple pictures in your different folders to relist it.
I still do that.
What's up with the change there?
It's a value thing. Anything under like 150, I'm just gonna do a stock photo. Honestly, like when I was going through, because I just got 1,000 cards back, when I was going through, I wasn't searching what the values were. My mental threshold where I wanted to do it was 100, but there are some cards that I've listed around 150, 180 that are under a stock photo, because when I looked at them, I'm like, yeah, this is probably like an $80 card. Somehow it's still 180. So I'm like, oh, well, you're going to get a stock photo. Sorry. So yeah, for me, like especially, I just got 100 Sword Shield 50s back, and 50 of them are 9s and 50 of them are 10s. I'm not going to take front back pictures of 50 Sword Shield 50 PSA 10s, especially PSA 9s. I'm just not going to. So I didn't edit my photos like Rusty. I did front photo only, and it shows some random cert. I can't really reach them that well, but they're right over there. Whatever the one I took a picture of, that one they're going to see the cert. I might run into an issue where, oh, that cert ends in 8.1. The one you send me ends in 8.7. If and when that happens, I'll do a quick edit of my photo, and I'll do it just like Rusty's. Maybe I'll take out the barcode too. But at the end of the day, as long as you get the cert number, and you say stock photo, I think you're going to be good to go. One word of warning: do not use stock photos on anything above like 250, because eBay authenticity guarantee will reject it. They will reject if you have a picture of cert 7.8 and you send cert 7.9. Same card, same grade. They will reject it because it has to match photos. And I believe it's 250 now for that, right?
Yeah. Yep. 250 and above. I do the same thing. I do anything under 150 gets a stock image. Anything over 150, I'll do exact pictures.
Nathan has a question for you that you should have on screen.
Have you two seen Cart Knocks? Yes, I have. I actually hadn't ever heard of that YouTube channel before. I think it was you, Dan, who shared a link to one of the videos after you found out that I don't return my shopping carts all the time.
Yeah,
since seeing his YouTube channel, I've gotten worse about returning my shopping carts, hoping that he'll come out to Massachusetts one day and I'll become viral.
Yeah, we gotta send him. Hilarious. I follow their Instagram. They have a YouTube too. There have been some crazy interactions. Like me personally, when I'm going out shopping, if I see someone leave a cart, I think we've had this exact conversation. But if I see someone leaving a shopping cart, maybe we had it when James and Cam were on, I'll just like passively aggressively stare them down. I think I made a joke of like I should start actively aggressively staring them down as I take their cart to go bring it in and use it, right? Like I'm not gonna go gather up. I'm not gonna be a cart attendant for free. I'm not gonna gather up 20 carts from the whole lot. But if I see a cart in the vicinity of where I'm gonna park, I'll park right next to it, grab it, and go into the store with it. If I park and then on my walk in, someone leaves a cart in front of me, I'll just take it from them and just give them like one of those sighs and stare at them. But Cart Narcs, that guy, he had someone pull a gun on him on video. Like he had someone pull a gun on him. He had people like threaten assault, people chase him down, try to assault him. He's doing risky work. He's a better man than me. But yeah, that's we've had people tagged us in stories a couple times of sharing like Cart Narcs reels on Instagram. I love those. So funny. Pokey Martin says, I don't know if you guys accept comments as questions anymore. We indeed do, so feel free to leave them. Ideally, I mean, obviously the ideal interaction I think of a live stream is being here live, but we understand not everyone can. So feel free to leave your questions in the comments below. If you're hearing this later, after we posted it later on, you weren't here live, feel free to leave questions and we'll get to them. If Pokemon, this was a really interesting question.
I like this question.
If Pokemon blatantly stated what sets were going to be printed and gave us a calendar for the entire year, including all reprints and products to be released, how would that affect the market in your opinion? Positive or negative overall? For example, if TPC explicitly said they will no longer print Evolving Skies, what would happen? Very, very interesting question. And it's a very, very difficult answer that I feel like I could talk for 3 hours about. And I feel like as I started talking about it, I would probably think of more and more. So I think what I'll do here is I'll try to give like two or three quick considerations that I have, comments towards it, and then you can do the same, and then we can just talk for a few minutes. I mean, however long we end up going. But my first thought, and not even a thought, but the first fact of the matter that needs to be understood is that the market, I'm talking the Pokemon market, I'm talking the crypto market, the stock market, all markets are forward looking, forward thinking. They have certain assumptions, presumptions that they are acting on. Like, one thing that people get really weird, kind of hung up on, they try to predict future movements based off news as if it was not expected. So like getting more into the stock market thing, there's always estimates of how much the Fed will move interest rates. And it's not like the day that the interest rates are moved that is totally unexpected, unplanned, unforeseen information. Like there's some amount of a projection, there's some amount of a theory that people use worked into where they price the market at. So if I think what a lot of people do, like right now, me personally, all I can speak for best myself, 2 years is historically what sets will be printed for. The way that I've been interacting with Evolving Skies is on a forward-looking basis under the assumption that it will be reprinted again because it's within 2 years. And the price is $300 in that ecosystem, in that reality. I've heard a lot of people, though, in spite of 25 years of history where sets are in print for approximately 2 years, they are quite confident that we will not get more booster boxes of Evolving Skies. So they're pricing that in to what they're willing to pay or what they're willing to sell for today. So, I mean, the market price that you see on a booster box is just the equilibrium of all of its participants and what we're deciding we'll pay for or sell it for, right? So that it's going to be a really convoluted, probably complex, rambly answer. But if and when they stated, hey, we're going to print, and there's more than one thing here, because if they told the market we're going to print 2 million booster boxes of Evolving Skies and they're going to land in March, people don't even know what that means. Like, they tell us every year how many cards they print, but you wouldn't even know. Is that high? Is that low? Is that, unless they told you literally every set. I don't know, that's kind of getting deeper in here than what Pokemartin gave us. But if they went back and they said 5 million base set booster boxes were printed, 1 million Team Rocket, 300,000 Sky Ridge, 500,000 this. If they told us the whole history, and then he said Evolving Skies so far has had this printed, and we're printing this much more, the market wouldn't know what to do with a lot of it. I think a lot of people would be overconfident in both directions on, oh, that's really high, it's gonna go down a ton, or oh, that's really low, it's gonna go up a ton. People can't really fathom or grasp exactly how much product is out there. So yeah, if they told us when and how much, the average person wouldn't even know what to do with that. So it would be interesting. At the end of the day, the market would find its own equilibrium, but I mean, at its most basic form, obviously, if they said we're going to reprint, we don't know what percent of people, like me, I'm in the camp of it's going to get reprinted. Overall, though, do more or less than 50% of people think it's going to get reprinted? So the people who believe it's going to get reprinted, if I get told it's going to be reprinted, I'm like, yeah, I thought so. Now I'm definitely going to sell everything I have so that I can buy it back later, especially if I know I'm going to get it for $86.50. And if I'm in the camp of like, I thought it was never going to get reprinted and I've been investing at $300 a box, I'm going to be like, oh crap, I screwed up a little bit. I'm either going to sell everything I have as quick as I can, or I'm going to just dollar cost average down when they come back out and buy as many as I can for as cheap as I can. But yeah, at the end of the day, like, it would just be a bit of a shit show. I mean, it already kind of is around. Basically, I'm saying a lot of things to say I have no idea largely, but it would be interesting in a different way. It's already interesting that we don't know, but it would be very interesting still, just in a different way, different angle, I guess.
Yeah.
I said a lot without saying a lot.
With the giving of the print numbers, like you were saying, if Pokemon says, hey, we printed 2 million Evolving Skies, whatever, I think for the first couple of sets or the first year or so, that would have an extreme negative effect on the market because, like you said, people don't understand what does that number mean. Is that a high number? Is that a low number? Is that about average for the sets? I just compare it to like when Pokemon announced that they printed 9 billion cards, whatever the number was, for last year when those numbers came out. That's right around the time when the bulk market like really crashed. And I think part of the bulk market crashing was because Pokemon announced, hey, we printed 9 billion cards this year. Obviously there was already a lot of people wanting to sell their bulk cards, but I think that kind of set fuel to the fire, and anyone who had bulk realized, hey, there's 9 billion of these cards. I got to get rid of these as soon as possible. So more and more people started selling their bulk, and these big bulk buyers couldn't handle that type of volume. So the bulk market just absolutely crashed. So I think the same thing would happen with booster boxes. If Pokemon says, hey, there's 2 million of these booster boxes, a lot more people would realize there's a lot of these booster boxes out there. Maybe I shouldn't hold as many as I currently am. So more people would try to sell them, and that would just kind of drive pricing down. But then as far as the question goes about Pokemon coming out with some type of calendar, I think I could honestly see both sides of that scenario. I could see it being a positive and a negative. So like on the positive end, I can see pricing remaining a lot steadier, a lot lower, if there is an impending reprint. So for example, Evolving Skies. If Pokemon says Evolving Skies is getting a reprint in February, I think pricing would immediately go down, and there would be a lot more people who are able to buy those booster boxes at lower pricing. But on the flip side of that, I could also see there's a lot of stupid people in Pokemon, especially if you're on Facebook. I could see a lot of people just being oblivious to the fact that there's going to be a reprint, and not really utilizing that information, and kind of buying product without utilizing that information and driving the price up. So I could see both sides of the scenario happening. Like recently on Facebook, with the whole email that Pokemon sent, basically a copycat of the 2021 email, basically saying there's not enough product, we're working on printing more of it, blah blah blah. Recently, there's been so many people on Facebook taking a screenshot of that email and saying, hey, Evolving Skies is getting a reprint. Confirmed reprint of Evolving Skies. Confirmed reprint of Brilliant Stars. When the email doesn't say anything about that. All it says is they're working on getting more product out. The 2021 email that they sent, if that was the correct year, but that email that they sent, we really didn't notice that much of a drastic change. So I think this email is going to just be more of the same, where they are printing more product, but I don't think we're going to see that drastic of a change. All of a sudden, late 2020, or I think I'm getting my years confused. 2021, whenever that like massive reprint of all the boxes, Battle Styles, Chilling Reign, Fusion Strike, I don't think we're going to see another case like that happen. So yeah, that's kind of what I would go with for that question. But I would personally love it if Pokemon said, this is the last reprint of Evolving Skies that you're going to get, or Evolving Skies are going to get another reprint on this date, because that would just make me know when to hold product, when to sell product, and it would become a lot easier to know that type of stuff.
And that's one point I wanted to get into too. I still want to elaborate more on the whole forward-looking concept, because say Pokemon literally came out, okay, what do we got? Silver Tempest just came out. We're going to hit you guys with 1 million boxes of Silver Tempest in, when did it come out? November? Or was it December? If they told November. So if they told us, hey, you're gonna get 500,000 boxes in November, 500,000 more in May, 250,000 more the following November and 250,000 more the following May. So basically, like every 6 months, you're going to get hit with waves, and that fills out like the 2-year print run. Some amount of people would still gladly pay a premium to get that first release product. Like some amount of people, they just want to be talking about the latest and greatest thing while everyone else is. It would be great in a lot of ways for me as a business though too, because it's like, okay, I know exactly how much I'm going to get on each wave, when they're coming, and I know how much I want to kind of hold to the longer term, so I can just sell through the appropriate rates like as they go. Historically speaking, Pokemon kind of never like we're X amount of boxes on this date, but Pokemon would, like my distributor relationship several years ago when I first started, they would be like, hey, these are still in print. These we can still order from Pokemon. These we can't order from Pokemon, but we still have in stock. Hey, Pokemon just gave us last call on this one. We're putting in our final order. So like now, like everyone's in, oh, not everyone. A lot of people are investing. A lot of people are just buying out everything, sitting on it. So it's just harder to navigate. Theoretically, say in this future world where they did that, the Silver Tempest scenario I laid out, some amount of people, like the 2 main waves you'd want to get in on, wave 1 as heavy as possible so that you could sell to the people playing the game who need the cards, to the people who want to FOMO in, get the cards, get first to market 10, or play the first to market 10 game if you wanted to yourself. The middle 2 releases would be the ones you didn't want as much of, and then the final one, you'd want like, you'd want like all the final one you could get. You'd want all of it. Yep. But functionally, distributors wouldn't allow that, right? They wouldn't allow you to just take first and last and take none of the middle. There would be some kind of an interesting scenario where everyone would try to concentrate to the 2 most desired ones, but people would have to trickle in and fill in the middle ones, and how pricing would react. Like it's impossible to know exactly what it would look like, but it is a really interesting thought experiment to just think how people would react and interact and how the pricing would go. But yeah, I think the fact that Evolving Skies is at 300 today, I think a lot of people buying it, I mean, a large portion of people buying it at that price are just businesses that are buying it to either rip and ship or just sell to people who are ultimately ripping. I think more people are ripping than it's always hard to say, because you don't know what percent of people think are ripping. You don't actually know what percent of people are actually ripping. But I think there's 2 very common sentiments. One of them being that everyone is sitting on everything sealed, nothing's getting opened. That's obviously way too extreme. And then some people say, oh no, nobody's investing in anything. People certainly are investing. To what extent? What extent compared to historical? It's guessing. It's guessing on guessing. Too many unknowns, I guess, to figure anything out. But I don't think we'll ever get that, unfortunately. I don't think we'll ever get that much transparency from Pokemon. It would be interesting to just see how the market worked and reacted in that alternate reality, but I don't think we have to concern ourselves with it because it's probably not coming.
I can't see a world where that does ever happen. I do think that was a good point about the set first coming out. Everyone would still go crazy over it. That's been a thing since Pokemon first came out with the original base set. Everyone likes to open new sets when they first come out. Most people know that if you wait a month or 2, you're going to be able to get the same products for cheaper. But nobody likes to wait, and I can definitely understand that. So yeah, that was a good point about pricing being high right out of the gate. Even if Pokemon said, hey, if you wait 6 months, we're going to do another reprint of this set. I do think pricing would still be high right out of the gate, like it is today. And I think it would just be quicker to kind of drop off in price. And then with Pokemon giving us information, like you were saying, a couple of years ago, distributors would say, hey, we can get this from Pokemon, we have this in stock, this is the last call. I think if anything, we're getting less information than we used to, because now we don't get those last call for this product, Pokemon still has this in stock, all of that stuff. It's more so you can order what we have on the website or not. That's really what it's turned into.
They're like me with my eBay. Buy it or not, I don't care. The limit is the limit. No, we're not going to discount anything. The price is the price. There's no best offer button. So they're kind of like me with my eBay, to be fair, I guess. Oh man, that's funny.
That's true.
I think this is our final question from past episodes, and then, as we normally do, about 45 minutes to an hour in, we can get to the actual live chat an hour behind. Shiny Lightbob 1000 asks, question for next podcast. MetaZoo sample and place tester cards. What is the release of these cards? I remember hearing Rusty talk about MetaZoo sending him sample cards before MetaZoo blew up. Does MetaZoo send sample cards to certain people? What about playtester cards? Do LGS get sent these before release? Thank you. Love the content. I could be wrong here, but as far as I understand, the sample cards were all created. So like there were sample cards from UFO, from I don't know if there were any from Seance, but all of those Black Border 1 of 100 sample cards that were released were either put into foil packs or those clear packs like I bought from Rusty, and they were distributed to content creators to kind of like advertise, push the brand, the same way that some time ago I was sent some of these Demon Deck cards. I know the Green Shiz was actually sent some too. Advertising. So as far as I understand, no more of those have been made, and I don't know if they'll be made for future sets. Like in a couple of months from now, we're going to be going into Native, and then over the summer it's War. I don't think there's any sample cards from those, but there will be playtester cards. And the way that playtester cards work, from my understanding, they take applications for playtesters to playtest. And I think what playtesting is just playing the game with the cards from the set to make sure there's no broken mechanics, make sure there's no like things that need fixing. I don't know how often a playtester card is made and then like gets a revision because, hey, this is broken when it works with this card, when it interacts this way, something that the MetaZoo game creator of mechanics like didn't see, and an interaction or whatever that needs to be fixed. I'm not 100% on the timing of the playtester cards and this and that, but I do know some amount of application is involved. You have to apply to be a playtester. What requirements there are, who gets approved to be playtesters, I don't know. But then once they get that, they get sent decks. I know some of the playtester cards are like very, very limited. I think there are as many or less than some of the sample cards, but I'm not like super deep into it either. That's a little bit of my understanding around them. LGSs though, I mean, I'm a partner, I'm not an LGS, but I do get some of the like LGS exclusive stamp cards. I don't get any playtester cards though. I don't get any sample cards. In the future, maybe when like the next block comes out, when they go into the yokai stuff, maybe they'll give some amount of sample cards to partners at LGSs, but I don't think so. I think the sample cards were like a one and done thing at the inception. I don't know if you have any. I know MetaZoo's not your. I mean, you did go to the Seance release party in Salem. You're pretty big into it, but I don't know if you have any further insight.
No, I don't know. I don't know anything about those. How are your how are pricing on sample cards?
Very bad, I think, relative to what I pay for them. Not like, I mean,
sorry.
A ton of my inventory went down 50 to 80%, right? Like a ton of Pokemon cards just in general went down. Some went up. I mean, yeah. I sold a card the other day for 3 or 4 times what I sold it for 2 months prior. Some cards, it's a massive market, very diverse, very broad. But those packs I bought from Rusty, I think I spent $16K with him. When was that? That must have been the end of 2021, beginning of 2022. If I'm remembering correctly.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, because it was a few months before the trophy deal. So I probably lost, if I were to auction them today, I would probably lose like 10,000 at least. Maybe not that much. 50%, I would say. I probably lost 8K if I just auctioned them as sealed packs. Because I think I did see someone auction one of the single card, the foil ones, and I think it went for like 1,500. Those ones are a little more desirable because you can't see what's in them. I have the clear ones that I know all the cards that are in them. You can search it for the holo. You just slide the cards and you see what the holo is. I paid about 4K per pack, and then I might get 2K-ish per pack. So Rusty got me pretty decently on that deal. And then a few months later, I sold him the couple trophies which if he were to auction those today, I mean, I think he'd get. Those are in an interesting point because, like, privately, obviously, I sold my number one after I declined his offer. There's speculation. I mean, I've seen people speculate on live streams. If I caved, paper handed it, and got less than 90K, which I know you're in that camp. You're on that team.
I was in that camp, yes.
And then there's people out there that believe in me and have respect for me, I guess, as a human being and like basic trainer who thinks I got more money than I declined from Rusty. But yeah, so buy it nows privately. Some of those cards are still doing pretty big things. Auction though, we did have that one PWCC one where we valued the 3 at 50. And though he didn't buy my 3 for 50, I declined it and I kept that one. The next 3 that auctioned went for like 33-ish. So we were a little higher than the market on that singular day, on that singular auction. But yeah, he beat me on the MetaZoo sample cards. I think I got him a little bit back on the trophy cards maybe, especially if you're talking about auctions. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Things go up, things go down. Neither of us are on the street over it, so that's good. Let me see. Yeah, so that was everything. That was all of our questions from prior.
Well, that wasn't too bad.
Squeak, I'm looking at the live chat and I see Squeak says, "Don't tell Dan most samples are sub 1K now." I mean, most are significantly sub 1K. As far as like the non-holos, most of the holos even I think are slightly sub 1K. But my packs, I think it's 5 cards. So I have a holo in each, and then I have 3 or 4 non-holos. If I were to just piece mine out, I did open one and grade it, and the Wendigo got wrecked. It got a PSA 6 because it had a little indent on the back I couldn't see, but then it got a CGC 9 with an indent on the back. Because other than that, it's mint. Other than the one corner, the one edge having an indent. But overall, yeah, I would estimate I would have lost 50%. And that's, I'm generally aware of the pricing, Squeaks, don't worry. I know they've gone down a ton. And I'm not like, that was a silly buy of me in hindsight, obviously. Knowing the prices went down what they did, but it was a silly buy of me just at the time even. I should have, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. You win some, you lose some. How's it going, Zach? I see Zach in here too. Anything else to hit before we get into the questions, or?
No, we can hop right into the questions.
We're an hour behind and we have 2.5 hours to catch up. So let's see how it goes. I do see, I see Squeaks, and Squeaks recently went live. He will be live with us 2 weeks from today. He's very, very good at doing the whole YouTube live stream. Hit the like button, guys. Hit the like button. He's good at saying that periodically throughout his live stream. I see we have 26 as I say this. So let's see how many we can get. Because we've got 69 watching. Let's see if we can get 69 likes for 69 watching.
There we go.
Anyways, I'll find the question. We have your average player saying, always remember to smash the like and subscribe. So good timing with that.
Oh, there we go.
Skater Nesto says, Nick OSP is looking right.
Thanks, Nesto.
Garrett Palka wants to know, when is Chumley going to be a guest? You met him, right? You got something signed?
I did meet him.
I'm assuming you gave him your business card and you said, hey, I do a podcast with this cool guy, Dan. You should come on sometime.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Your silence tells me you must not have done that.
Oh, man. No, I don't think we'll be able to get Chumley on here anytime soon. But I did meet him in Long Beach. That was cool. Got to take a picture with him. I didn't know he was coming to Long Beach. So Dallas, I had Gary, King Pokemon, have Chumley sign a Squirtle for me. So that was cool. So now I got the signed Chumley Squirtle, and then got a nice picture with him.
Drop the ball though. Drop the ball on the invite for the podcast. We'll have to get him next time.
Next time.
I don't know if you saw the clip. I saw it shared in a couple Discords, but Java Akuma says someone's got to get moist critical on a podcast to talk grading. A very negative take versus our positivity. I think when you say our, I would include myself more in moist critical's shoes than I would in this collective our you're saying, Java. But no, it was interesting to get like a general outsider's take on grading. He said a lot of it just seems silly. I don't know if you saw the clip or not, if you saw the video.
I did, yeah. Well, I saw the Josh's reaction to it.
Oh, that's right. I forgot Josh reacted to it. I had already watched the video, so I didn't watch Josh's reaction because I'm like, I don't want to watch the video for a second time. But it was largely like right off the gate too, within the first minute, Moist Critical was like, I don't understand why anyone would do this unless you're a flipper, unless you're flipping into the market, which was funny. It was like, okay, I'm on the same page with this guy. I'm feeling it. And I get, like, if you have no intent to resale, if you're a hashtag, air quotes, true collector, why spend an extra $15,000 to $5,000 per card to put it in plastic when that could be money you would spend on more cards, right? Like if you're never going to sell. But ultimately, I mean, we don't all live forever, and ultimately everyone's card is going to be sold or moved somehow. So I think he went a little extreme in some points, but I agreed with him on others. Just like any other person, there's no one you should just blindly follow and agree with everything they say. So I had some points that I'd agree with him on, and I had some points I'd push back a little bit on, but it was interesting.
Yeah, I would I disagreed more than I agreed. The way the market is right now, and will be probably forever, grading is a necessity. Both to like get an authenticity check on your card, know the exact grade, and then get that premium whenever you do decide to sell. Even though if people like doing binder sets, which there are a lot of people who do like doing binder sets and building like mint binder sets, when the time comes for them to sell, they'd be stupid not to send their cards in for grading before they actually sold those cards. And I think that's going to be true forever. People like buying graded cards, and I think that's going to be true forever. So it makes sense to me that people actually grade stuff.
I don't want to scroll down to highlight it, but Mr. Walrus in the live chat said, raw cards are gross. They're made from trees. Those grow in dirt. Wake up, people. I love Mr. Walrus. He's always an MVP of the chat. But I do have a highlighted question from Professor Birch. If you want to take that one, we'll try working through our backlog.
There we go. So, Professor Birch, question. Trying to get in with my first distributor, Southern Hobby. There we go. I like Southern Hobby a lot. They messaged back saying they're only creating accounts with brick and mortars. Southern Hobby won't accept me. What other distros should I try? That's unfortunate. I don't personally know of distributors who are accepting online stores. The best thing to do would be to Google Pokemon distributors. One of the first results is going to be the Pokemon website listing all of the distributors in the US. I would start off with the one closest to where you live and just call them asking if they're accepting new online applications, and just work your way down the list. I work with Southern Hobby, which I like a lot, and then I also work with MadAl, which I like. They're good too. So you could try both of them, or MadAl as well. But yeah, I would just work your way down the list and call or email every single one of them, and hopefully one of them will accept new online applications. But like I said, I don't know of anyone off the top of my head who is accepting new applications. Do you?
I've heard, not firsthand, kind of like secondhand, that some people have gotten in, but I've heard of like very large accounts getting in, like, hey, I'm going to be buying X amount. I don't know What's their incentive is my question. What's their incentive to take on a new account, especially if it's a smaller one? It's probably not an answer people want to hear, but like, what's their incentive to take on a new account that's going to be $1,000 to $10,000 a month or less? All the good product sells out, all of it. There's none of it available. There's no booster boxes like anywhere. If they are, it's because they're selling for 140 or 150 or 120 depending on the set. So yeah, all you can do, just as Nick said, if I needed to get in, if I wanted to get in now, I would put it on a calendar. I'd put it for every third month, and I'd go through the whole list. I'd send out an email. Here's my information. Here's my numbers. I'm a serious. They're gonna have heard the story 100 times, and they have no reason to believe you. Maybe link your website, link your whatnot stream. Like, I'm really here for the long haul. I'm gonna be buying. I'm gonna be like, I'm trying to grow my business. You might not have any luck, but it only would take, I mean, if you were set up properly, and once you get that email blast go out the first time, there's only like 14 of them or something. I mean, phone calls, emails, whatever. If you spent an hour, a couple hours every few months, I mean, if you really want it, it's not that much work to do, right? But who knows? Maybe they'll never get back into letting in internet retailers. I mean, there are some. I've kind of wondered before. I've never really heard anyone talk about it. Maybe a little bit here or there. What if Pokemon just universally stepped away from online retailers? I know Wizards of the Coast with Magic, and I believe Yu-Gi-Oh as well. They don't do online retailers at all. They're brick and mortar only, exclusively. What if Pokemon decided to go that route? They would sell out of everything still. Yeah, it's an interesting thought. I don't know that it will ever happen, but who knows? And whether or not that comes from Pokemon or whether that comes from each individual distributor, just all deciding to make that rule themselves. Yeah, it's just a product of the times, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That said, though, if you're going to be a really small account and you're going to be ordering small amounts, when sets release, there are so many times I'm paying $86.50 a box plus credit card fees. There are times where these sets are like $89.99 shipped on eBay. Even $99.99 shipped on eBay. I can't take one box. I've got to do $750 minimum or whatever it is. So there are times out there using eBay or using websites like Hills Wholesale Gaming. There are times where you can get stuff just as cheap as I'm paying or pretty close. So yeah, for now, set up, do your deal, do all your business with the cheapest you can find on the market, and then just stay kind of keep bugging periodically, get your name, get your foot in the door with a distributor.
Yeah, what's his football Pete on eBay? I think he
Football
was at
Pete,
like
yeah.
$97 a box for Silver Tempest right when it released. So that'd be another option if you can't get in with distribution and you're looking to buy product to if you're planning to like rip on Whatnot or something like that. That's a good price right there if you're not able to get in with distribution.
Yeah. Professor Birch has another one. I'll be attending my first Collecticon in Charlotte. What advice can you guys give to get the most out of the event? Does CAC frown upon spectators bringing personal items for a trade or sale? A lot of people bring backpacks. A lot of people bring trade binders, trade slab cases, whatever. They look to sell to vendors. They look to a little bit of everything. So no, they definitely don't frown upon it. I would just say be tactful. One thing I saw in our own island, one thing I saw in a couple instances, people would bring their trade binder and they'd go to one table and then they'd end up either that table itself or the table next to them. They'd kind of like hog the whole space. You got to be a little tactful and a little careful. Don't lay out 8 binders on the table of the guy next to the person you're trying to trade with. Because like you can't put it on their table because you're trying to look at their slabs to do a trade, right? Well, don't kill the one guy's sale next to him for half an hour because you're trying to like deal with this person. So just be mindful, be respectful, I guess, is one thing. But no, like tons of people do it. It's definitely a thing. What advice can you guys give to get the most out of the event? I guess I don't know what your goals are, but assuming your goals might be to trade a little, to buy a little, go with everything priced. Go with everything priced. Know what you're going to value it. Don't be trying to comp things right then and there. Do the prep ahead of time and bring cash. Friends and family, crypto, whatever, those things, Zelle, Venmo, those things are all nice, but cash is king. I'm going to give you the best price possible on anything you offer on if you have cash money, $100 bills. So that's me personally. Maybe not everyone's that way. Maybe certain people, different payment methods preferred. But I guess that's another angle to it. Be prepared to pay a few different ways, maybe. Orlando last year, the internet was bad. The internet was really bad. So if you have a payment method that requires on you or the vendor needing internet, you might have a bad time. So that's why I think cash wins always too, is because I don't need any external party to do anything for me. Me and the buyer, cash, boom, done. What do you got? Any?
I would also add, there's usually always people hanging out in the hotel lobbies after the convention, so you could do trades there as well. That might be a better time to trade with like the non-vendors is after the convention, when everyone's just hanging out in the hotel lobby. That way you can spend the actual convention walking around and seeing what all the vendors have. And then there's also usually always there's like an official trade night that happens at either one of the hotels or some restaurant or bar. So you could do that as well if you're looking to trade or buy. But yeah, it's always an absolute blast. I think you covered it pretty well there with the cash and then pricing everything beforehand.
Oops, I just jumped to the bottom. Oh, I got it though. It gave me the comment before it jumped. So Leaf Green Goblin. As a buyer, do you think it makes sense financially to always wait for an auction to pop up instead of a buy it now? Thanks. Really good question. And I believe Leaf Green Goblin was on Jake's recent call-in show. So welcome to the YouTube sphere. I think you put your face out there for the first time that I saw, at least. But not always. Definitely not always. There are times, I covered this a little bit in a video I did on buy it nows versus auctions. But one, if you don't have the time, like you might spend, say there's one card you need, and say recent auction sold for $50 and low list on eBay, maybe on Catch 'em All Collectibles eBay is low listed for $100. There are times where it just makes sense to pay the extra. It all comes down to how you value your time. And then another thing, what you think the future prospects of the card are. If the card is going to drop 50% over the next 6 months, well, yeah, wait for an auction. On top of that, wait 6 months for an auction. If it's a card that's just ubiquitous, it's going to be out there. It didn't make this sense to wait for auctions of Sword Shield 50 when they were selling for $250 because the first few ones did. It made sense to wait 2 years for auctions that now sell for $25. So yeah, it's always going to depend on the card, but it's also always going to depend on you. If auctions go for 50 and low buy it now is 100, and you don't have, like, if it's a really niche card and you look at the eBay 90-day auction history and there's only one, or there might be none, and you might spend 5-10 minutes every day for the next 6 months looking for it, and it won't even pop up. And yeah, there are definitely times where it just makes sense to pay the money. You think it might go up, you think it might not even pop up at auction, but it all comes down to if you've got more time or more money, and what your future prospects are on the card, I guess, too.
Yeah, I would say timing is the biggest thing right there. Like what you were saying. If it doesn't pop up for auction very often, you might be better off doing the buy it now. But depending on how badly you want it. But I would say as a general overall statement, auctions are usually the way to go over buy it nows. That's I've always thought that's the more realistic price, I would say. Because it's going to be sold within that time frame. There's a lot more eyes on it. So I think you get a more realistic price point. But at the same time, having that limited time frame of the auction could hurt the sale because someone might not have someone might have just bought a card, they might not have the money to purchase the card or whatnot. But yeah, usually I prefer auctions over buy it nows. If I'm looking to get something for as cheap as possible. Especially if it's like an auction over a private sale. Buy it nows on eBay are a little bit different because you have a lot more eyes on it, but with private sales like through Instagram, I think you're usually going to be paying at least a slight premium, depending on what the actual card is.
One thing I wanted to cover. Yeah, one thing I wanted to cover. I forget if a lot of times I'll make like a set of bullet points before I record a video, and then I might forget to include one or two. But one benefit you and I have, we will buy anything that we can resell for more money at the right margin, right? So if you're a collector and you're just looking to buy like 5 specific cards, you and I can go browse eBay for auctions for like an hour, and we can almost guaranteed we're going to find something we can bid on to make a margin on. But if you're out there and you're only looking to buy a handful of specific cards that don't come up much, and you don't want any excess with them, you don't want a lot because you don't want to have to sell anything out of them, that goes back to we're all in the same arena, but we're playing different games. I can bid on a flat percentage of anything, and I can just resell it for more money. I'm always looking for more inventory to some extent. So yeah, like we have that benefit. And when I made my video, I was kind of pushing back on my own generalization, and then auctions are always better to buy, and buy it nows are better to sell. It's more complicated than that, and that's what I tried to stress in that video. Everyone has a different scenario. Everyone has a different amount of free time, cash flow, goals, and yeah, the answer is going to be some blend of those. So I highlighted the next question whenever you want to take that.
Yeah. 1 second here. So we've got PokeDep Store. As a Pokemon craft store, think it's worth my time to go to my local con to vend. I would say give it a shot. And see how it goes. With local conventions, it's nice because I'm assuming local you can drive and come back home at night. You don't have to rent hotels. You don't have to fly anywhere. So your cost basis for going to this actual convention is going to be very, very, very minimal. Really, you're only paying for your table, and then you're paying for the time that you're spending at this convention, not able to sell online. But I would say it's always worth the shot to at least try it out and see how it goes. Maybe it doesn't go well, and to not go back to that convention again. Maybe it goes really well, and now you have another avenue to sell your stuff. So I would at least give it a shot. Maybe if you're on the fence about going or not going, maybe go one time just to see what it's like, not as a vendor, but just someone walking around. Go check it out, see what other people have available, see what other stuff is kind of selling, talk to some of the other vendors to see how their sales are going, and stuff like that. That's what I would say to do. But yeah, I would definitely recommend giving it a shot if you have the time and are wanting to get into these in-person events.
Yeah, and I have it's lower on my list for 2023, but kind of a goal in the back of my mind for 2023 is to do one of the local conventions. I live kind of in between Syracuse and Albany, a little bit closer to Syracuse, but there are small card shows on almost a monthly basis in either/both cities. So it's on my list. You never really know until you go, right? And then just like Collecticon, you can probably knock it out of the park at one and think, man, this is going to be great. I'm going to go to these every month, every other month, however frequently they are. And then you go to the next one, you bring the same stuff, the same buyers aren't there. Or the market has just slightly changed. Like, it's not always going to be, yeah, these things are just, I kill it there every time. It's always going to be different buyers, different overall state of the market. But yeah, give it a try. I mean, especially if it's local, if it's just a half a day or a day, give it a shot and see how it goes. I'm sure there'll be passionate people in the vicinity about the hobby that you can at least share some stories and conversation with, and it'll probably be a good time. Presto has a question on, at what point do you consider to stop displaying your collection in your home and move to a more secure location? Assume everything is already properly insured. The two main considerations I have are risk when it comes to financial loss, and insurance can cover that. Insurance can cover theft, fire, flood, tornado, whatever thing out there, you can insure against it. But obviously, the prospect of being robbed, it's not only a monetary consideration, it's an actual life consideration. It's an actual safety consideration. So for me personally, when that like came on my radar was 2020. I mean, I had quite a, and up till 2019, it had all been in my house. And the numbers were a little crazy, but whatever. It worked out. I thankfully, my house never burned down up to 2019 or anything like that because I hadn't been insured. I first got insurance and first sent stuff to the PWCC vault and got a safe deposit box all in 2020 because the numbers just got crazy. The numbers got insane, and it's a very personal thing. I can't say that number is $50,000. I can't say that number is $5 million because for everyone, it's very different. Everyone has different salaries. Everyone has different risk tolerances. Everyone has different, I mean, geographically, I don't have tornadoes or hurricanes. I mean, we have like little tiny baby, I think they call them, what do they call them? Microblast or microbursts. Sometimes that barely reach the classification of a tornado, but we don't have like F5 tornadoes. We don't have earthquakes generally. We don't have, so you have geographic risk. You have just your own financial picture, what your risk tolerance is based on that, your own like safety of your neighborhood. Do you have security systems? Do you have dogs? Do you believe in the Second Amendment or not? All those kinds of considerations that go into what you do. So yeah, for me, it happened in 2020, but for everyone, it's a very personal decision. So those are just some of the considerations I take into it. But as of today, I have a lot of stuff in PWCC Vault. I have a handful of stuff, the highest value stuff in like a safe deposit box. And then I have insurance on all the locations that things are stored as well.
Yeah, it's a really personal decision. Like Dan said, depending on a lot of factors. For me, I never even had a safe until 2020. Before that, it was just all in my closet in cardboard boxes. And I was fine with it. And then 2020 happened, and I was away working. And I started to get really nervous seeing the value of everything dramatically increase and knowing that everything was just sitting in my closet. So when I got home, I went out and bought a nice gun safe, and I'm perfectly content having everything at home. Most of the stuff is in the safe. There's a lot of like lower end stuff that's just sitting out, but I never liked, I don't have anything like super high end. Like I don't have the Pika trophy like you do, Dan. I
don't have the number one anymore.
So I that is true. That is true. But I never liked the idea of storing stuff in PWCC or a safety deposit box, because then you really never look at it. Like myself, I don't look at my collection very often, but if I wanted to look at stuff, I have the option to look at everything because everything's right in my house. I never liked the idea of having everything stored away offsite and just looking at it as a picture online. That kind of takes the fun out of it for me. So it would take a lot for me to send anything to a vault or a safety deposit box or anything like that.
And honestly,
but you do have to. Go
Oh,
ahead.
finish up with what you were saying, and then I'll go on
I was
my.
gonna say you do have to take things into consideration. Like I think I live in a very safe neighborhood, so theft would be something that I'm not concerned about. And then geographically, same thing. It's not an area that has like earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, anything like that. So I'm not necessarily worried about that either. So it really does depend upon your kind of personal area where you're from, that type of stuff, and then just being smart as well. Like, don't be giving out your home address. Make it at least a little bit hard for people to find your home address. Get a PO box. That's a big one, especially if you're going to be selling a lot through eBay or wherever. Make it at least a little bit difficult for people to find out your home address.
And then we do live in a time where it's very easy and cheap to just have like a pretty reasonable security system. I mean, there's the higher end legitimate ADT things like that where you pay a monthly fee all the way down to, I mean, I'm not going to say individual names, but there's different manufacturers of more like DIY security systems that will ping your phone, that will call the police like if you pay a small monthly fee, much lower than ADT. Doorbell cameras are almost ubiquitous now. Security lights that turn on if someone's trying to sneak around your house. Like there's a lot of just basic things you can have to secure yourself more to some extent. But one thing I was going to touch on when you're saying you don't want to send off a lot of stuff, I had to sleep well at night. I had to send off a lot of stuff. So in 2020, I did. And doing that made it so much easier to just get rid of a lot of things. Like honestly, coupled that with I went full time in 2021 and I'm a business now and I rely on this for like an income. So it just made it so much easier for me to not have much of a collection. And I'm happy not having much of a collection. I up through 2020, I completed all my goals. I mean, I still have some goals of things to own, but like not anything to own and hold long term. Just the market largely values almost everything more than I do. So the few cards I keep in what I consider my personal collection are just ones that I have more of a nostalgic tie to, or just like memories tied to from an event I went to, like the Zard I pulled in Vegas. I'll look at that thing and I'll think back to that event, the people I met for the first time, seeing you again, just that whole experience. So yeah, that's some of the things that went into my consideration of just moving on from a lot of my collection, including the card I just recently sold. It was sitting in a safe deposit box. I still own the number 3. I don't see it hardly ever. I might see that thing in 2023. I might see that thing 4 times if I'm lucky. We'll see how many cards I sell out of my safe deposit box, I guess. But it's not very frequent that I do. So yeah, makes it easier to move on from those things.
Speaking of the number 3 there, saw that listed back on eBay. Is that something you would sell? I always thought that would be the toughest one for you to let go of, since you bought that one at Worlds from the winner. But is that one you're thinking about selling if the right offer comes along now?
I don't think I have it on eBay, do I?
I think you do.
Maybe I do. I don't even know. A couple other people have ones listed. There was a long period where none of the full art trophies were listed. I know that I think it's Steffi Chu has her number 1 listed. I think Radar might have a couple listed, but I don't believe mine is up. I do. If it's not, I intend to put it back up just for a very, very high price. I'll probably put it for like $100,000 or something. If someone wants to pay me more than I think, like significantly more than I think it's worth, I would sell my memories of that card, of that interaction. But yeah, I do. I mean, I valued the 1 highest of all of them because the 1 won the tournament, right? Third got, they won their final match. They won the the 3rd place matchup, but they lost in the semifinals. So I value the interaction I had. I value the memory, that the adrenaline and stuff of making that deal in person. That was really cool. And then tied to the Washington DC Worlds event in 19. But there's still a price on that card. There's no price on my childhood Charizard. There's no price on my childhood binder. 1, because the number's so much lower to begin with, and I have so many more Charizards. But like being real, there's a number on that number 3 Pikachu. It's just significantly higher, I think, than anyone would actually pay. I would take $100K today if anyone's interested. So hit me up. But I don't think anyone will be interested in that price.
It's weird. I'm looking on your eBay store now. I'll send you a screenshot. But it's not listed. But if you look on your eBay store, there's a box that says check out PSA Pokemon cards, and your number 3 Pika is the big image there.
Oh, I probably used it. So you can create like, there's like templates. I went through and I created like a template type thing for my store, and you can highlight certain listings. So I probably picked that card to highlight that listing at the time it was listed. Now that it's no longer listed, I would have thought it would have defaulted to a different card, but maybe I manually need to change that. But it's going to come back to eBay soon anyway, so I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to list it for like $100K. No best offer, $100K. Pay it or don't pay it. I don't care.
There we go.
One thing you mentioned too that I actually want to do a video on. I'm going to do a video on how I store my cards at some point, and I do use fire safes. Not only that, but I built kind of like a vault room that I store my fire safes in. You actually saw it in person. But just a word of caution to people. If you go to Walmart and you get one of those Sentry fire rated safes, they call them, they're more of a burglar convenience box than a safe, the really small ones. Those are not rated to protect plastic from melting. Plastic will melt in those safes if your house burns down. I have, again, most valuable cards are at a bank vault, but some amount of cards are in one of those small safes inside of a big safe, like a nested safe within a safe thing. You met what was his name? Jason, I think. Silver Snorlax in
Yep.
He did some really great articles on E4, and I've had it on my list for a long time to follow up on those more thoroughly and make a video about the topic, because if and when your house burns down and you have a safe that's made for fire protection up to 30 minutes, up to 60 minutes, that covers paper. That covers paper money from burning up. Your slabs will melt. He did some tests. I did some deep dives into different analytics that these manufacturers had out there. And so, yeah, you need to be careful, because putting stuff in a fire safe, your cards will likely melt if they're just sat in a fire safe. I think a lot of people think those things are way more than they actually are. And I want to make a video to address that. So just a general word of caution on overconfidence in a fire safe. But I'll follow up on that at some point down the line. I don't know when exactly. I did have the next question, and then the chat just moved. There we go. So Card Palace asked, do you guys by chance use promoted listings on your slab listings on eBay? Absolutely, but I don't use them universally. So I think one mistake people make is that they pay eBay more than they have to universally on everything. What I do, if I have a card that's fairly niche, fairly one-off, and more expensive generally, I will just list it low list on eBay, and that's it. I'll run it that way. But if I have a card like Sword Shield 50 right now, buy it now, low list on eBay is like $30. Mine are selling for 48 or 50. I'm selling mine for like 50% over, if not higher, over market by putting a 7% ad rate. I put a 7% ad rate on my cards, and they're selling for 50% higher than low list on eBay. So absolutely, cards where there's tons of competition. If you search a card and there's more than 10, 20 search results, I put on anywhere between 3 and 10% promotion, depending on like how fast I want to get rid of the card or how much of a premium I'm trying to get on it. So I do not put a promotion on my Art Academy cards. If you put a 5% promotion on a $10,000 card, I'm not going to pay an extra $500 to sell that card. And when someone searches that card, it's a very specific buyer that doesn't need any extra advertising, that doesn't need any extra push. If they're after that card, they know what it is, and I'm low list on eBay anyway. So like, yeah, that's my theory and my strategy with promotions.
Yeah, I use promotions on a few of my listings, not too many though. For example, like my pins, all of those are promoted at 5%. My Pokemon coins, all of those are promoted at 5%. I have the Team Rocket storage boxes, Detective Pikachu pack, all of those are promoted. And the reason why I do those is because I have a ton of all of that stuff. Plus my cost basis on all of that stuff is very, very low. So an extra 5-10% isn't going to hurt me on that stuff. And I'd rather continue to sell it quicker than hold on to it forever, like I probably already am with some of that stuff. But anything that's like a one-off item where I have one copy listed, or something like raw cards where I have a couple copies listed, I don't do the promoted listings for that stuff. I'd rather do like the markdown manager sales, or sending offers to buyers every once in a while, on that type of stuff, where I'll take a little bit less for an item, but it'll be more of an instant sale versus paying eBay more to sell whatever item.
Yeah. But I've definitely seen instances where people have like a one-off card, a pretty niche thing, and they're putting 5 or 10 or maybe 7% on it. Shout out my thumbnail guy. He had 7% on a couple really high-end cards that I don't think needed it, and then he was stuck in a spot where someone sent him an offer. He accepted it. He was going to have to pay that extra amount, and yeah, I don't think $1,000 cards are the right place, unless it's $1,000 card. Maybe in sports there are $1,000 cards, like certain rookie cards where there's just a ton of them, more of a 2020 thing probably. But if there's 50 of them listed and it's $1,000 card, yeah, maybe. But most Pokemon cards that are $1,000, there's only a handful listed. Be the low list, or yeah, just use other means. Maybe match the low list with a couple percent, but putting there's no like 10% universal, anything like that. For me personally. Ancient Mew,
Yeah,
I have a quick
one other thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. With the promoted listings, I've always found it to be something where it's not for those high-end cards like you said. It's for these moms, dads, grandparents, aunts, uncles, whatever, who are just looking to buy something for their kids or whatever. So you that's why you want to get more eyes on it. Obviously you do have people who are browsing eBay for themselves, looking to buy stuff. But I've always thought promoted listings are more so for people looking to buy gifts and stuff like that.
Yeah, like the non-savvy buyers who don't even know how to search for low list. In a perfect world, exactly, everyone would just search low list, and I wouldn't have to play that strategy. But people don't, so you have to play the game. Just a quick response by me on this, kind of a question from Ancient Mew. Silver borders do not mean better print quality. They are simply changing the color, not the printer's. Thoughts? Agree. That's all I have to say on that. I guess I'll elaborate a little bit further. Some people think that like we're going to silver borders, it's going to make everything amazing, and the ink color on the borders is just going to be different. It's going to be the same stock and all that. It's going to be the same production equipment. And not only that, there's this weird theory out there that nothing yellow border will ever get reprinted again because they switched all the printers over to silver, and you can't just switch back and forth. All that's like saying they just printed Eevee, so next they can't print Ghastly because he's a purple card and Eevee's a white card. That's just different ink on the same equipment, on the same, like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Some of the things that I've heard, like, oh, they'll never reprint yellow border again because it would take too much to change over. No, you literally just upload a different file and you print out a different file, and that's all it is. Yeah. Anything to add on that?
I can. Well, at least with the Paldea box promos, those had the silver border, and print quality on those was decent. You still had your occasional card that was bent from the packaging, which is normal. That's not with the print quality, but you still had like light scratching on some of them. You still had white nicks on the back of it. So the the print quality definitely didn't change. It's just the actual coloring that changed.
Yeah. We're still, how far behind are we? We're still an hour behind, so we haven't caught up at all yet. Hopefully we'll start catching up. Let's see. Charizard V Alt R under/over/correctly valued. I don't know if you mean graded. I don't know if you mean raw. I'll say graded, overvalued, raw, correctly valued.
I don't know what the pricing is on that one, but
me neither. But yeah, I still think I'm right.
I would say, not knowing any of the pricing, I would say grading is going to go down. Raw pricing, I can't see that going too much lower.
But like probably not too much higher anytime soon either, right?
Yeah, no.
So correctly and then over for the graded. I think we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Ancient Mew asks how many Moonbryon were printed. I would estimate 100,000. I actually did a deep dive in my Patreon where I went through, and of the 9.1 billion cards, I tried to allocate them by set. Not only that, I went all the way back to base set, all the periodic times they've told us how many cards they've printed. Most sets have approximately 50,000 to 250,000 of the chase card printed. Base set, early WotC sets excluded, most of those have millions. There were very likely 2 million plus base set unlimited Charizards. But Moonbryon, I would estimate around 100,000, if not slightly higher.
Man, I'll take your word for it.
And that's,
million Charizards, though? That's wild.
That's my best estimate, but who knows? Nobody knows for sure. But taking the numbers they tell you and then doing the math backwards from them gives you the most reasonable approximation I've never seen anyone really go to great lengths to try to estimate it, but I did so myself. And I mean, if somebody ever came to me and said, oh, yours are wrong for XYZ, you didn't consider this, consider that, I'd be open to it. But I think mine are pretty reasonable estimations.
I'll take your word for it.
What's the allocation of Crown Zenith looking like? Have they printed it to oblivion? I think I got the same amount of ETBs of that as I did of celebrations. I think I got 200 of those from my one distributor, and I got 200 Crown Zenith.
Yeah, I think my allocations for Crown Zenith were actually good. I didn't get that much celebrations because that was a time frame where I was like sporadically ordering product, and then I would be away, so I wasn't ordering product. But now that I'm back and ordering product consistently, I thought I got a good allocation for Crown Zenith, and then I was even able to go in and add more ETBs than they originally gave me. So that was a good sign right there.
You're not going to tell us the number? Being really cryptic there. You don't have to.
No, it was originally, I forget. It was originally 40, and then it went up to 60 or 80. And then with my other distributor, I got 60. So it's either 120 or 140 total.
Very quickly, we are 37 minutes behind. So we just gained over 20 minutes. Reed Armor says, thoughts on character rares from Sword and Shield, some of which currently selling $1 to $5 and their future value. For example, the Pikachu from Cosmic Eclipse today regularly sells above $100 on PSA 10. I think that's most graded cards, especially in PSA 10, especially ultra modern ones. Most of them sell for too much money for my comfort level. So you always need to be careful saying like, this sells for this, so this should sell for this. Because one, the print runs are probably vastly different. The Sword and Shield ones are probably printed a lot more. Grading is more ubiquitous. I mean, Cosmic Eclipse was quite recent, but grading is even more of a thing than it was back then. We had the whole 2020 shutdown, perfect storm situation. And so, yeah, like not as many of them were able to get graded as quickly. Whereas now more of them probably are, with grading being open, cheaper, more accessible, quicker turnaround times. So I think those are priced reasonable. I mean, if you want to buy them as a collector without respect for future value, I think there's good value in a lot of things out there. Modern, mid, vintage, all together. Mostly raw though. Less, but there's good graded value out there too. Just less universally. I can more universally say there's decent value out there in raw cards than there is in graded. But it's all future. What are your future? Are you buying it on credit and you need it to go up, or you're gonna like have decreased lifestyle because you can't afford it and you're speculating on its future value and you need it to go up? Obviously, that's a very different situation than just I'm buying this card because I like it and I think it might go up someday. And if it doesn't, that's fine too, because I really love the card. So it all comes down to, yeah, your mindset when you buy it, I guess, at least for me.
Yeah. As a collector, I think it would be a decent pickup. I think they look good, but personally, I like the Sun and Moon, the Cosmic Eclipse ones, a lot better than the Sword and Shield ones. For whatever reason, Sword and Shield ones are decent, but I think they did a much better job with the Cosmic Eclipse character rares. So I personally wouldn't say that it's a play for an event. They are cheap, and I think they're going to be cheap for a very, very long time. I compare them similar to like Amazing Rares even.
Like Hidden Fates, Baby Shinies.
There's a lot of people who like those cards. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of people who really like those cards, but there's also a lot of those cards out there, and they're very easy to pull. So I can't see there being a play for that. But yeah, if it's for like a collection, a binder, I think they're good cards to collect, but as an investment, I wouldn't go for it.
I did see this in the chat, on the live chat, and I commented towards it, but Mr. Walrus said, come trade with Section 70. You can fan out your binders on Section 71. Please do, when you go to Collecticon, go for trades with Section 70, because they won't count towards the competition of gross sales. Come with cash to Section 71, because we want that big fat gross number so Nick buys us all around. So yeah, absolutely. Bring your trades to Section 70. Bring your cash. Come liquid to Section 71, because we're gonna have the goods.
I'll do one better. Sell to Section 71 and then bring your cash to Section 70.
Oh god. PokeKid asks, is the special delivery Charizard no longer available on Pokemon Center? I believe it's done. I wasn't doing the whole weekly code thing. I had like 5 codes and I was trying to use them weekly. I couldn't get it figured out. I couldn't get it sorted out. I spent like 45 minutes one night trying to sort it out. I'm like, let me give up, give it a week or two. I gave it like 2 weeks and it still didn't work. So then I just gave up altogether and I bought like 20 of them or something on eBay. I didn't go nearly as hard as Rusty did. At some point, if they continue down, I probably will buy 50 or 100 of them if the price feels like it gets too low. But I haven't looked close enough and it hasn't gotten to that number yet. Hearing PK talk about it, though, I believe it is done. I believe you can no longer redeem them.
Yeah, as far as I know, that's the case. But yeah, I think I do want to pick some up at some point, and I think the pricing that we're seeing now is actually, I can't see it going much lower now. The thing that I run into is I'm never able to find like a seller on. I haven't looked a ton, but I'm never able to find a seller on eBay or a seller on Facebook who has like a decent amount of them. It's always like one person has 1 or 2 copies, and then the next person has 1 copy, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I do think the pricing that we're seeing right now, right around $35-$40 is, I can't see it going much lower than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. Like, one thing I worry about a little bit, I don't actually worry about it because I don't have much of a position, but were there 20,000 copies in monster boxes that are just supposed to go to the shredder, supposed to go to the dumpster, and they're gonna just slip out in backseat of someone's car? Who knows? And honestly, if 10,000 or 20,000 of them did, would it even affect the price that much? Like, that sounds like a lot, but there could have already been 400,000 of them distributed. And if there were already that many hundreds of thousands distributed, 10 or 20,000 wouldn't even do much, probably. So it's impossible to say, but yeah, just to answer the question as quickly as possible, like, I don't think they're still available to get. Could they be available again down the line? Who knows? You never know. They can do whatever they want with it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Pokey Kid says, have you seen Dave Ramsey's new apparel? It says cash is king. Dan needs one for the next con. I actually do intend, not necessarily merch that I'll like sell, but I did make like a catch 'em all collectibles with my Sassy Charmander that I wore to the conventions last year. Now that I have the new logos, the new branding, all that stuff, I do want to make some non-copyright infringing new t-shirts. I'm probably going to make a playmat or two for myself for using on stream. And then I'm going to make a table runner, because you and I, we both made the stand things that we had to ship down. But I'm going to make like a cloth table runner. I know to Green Shiz. Shout out to Green Shiz. I double checked with him what he did for his. I assumed he got it on Vistaprint. That's where I'm going to get mine too. But yeah, I'm definitely going to make up in the next week or two. I know Basic wants a shirt too. He wants me to make a shirt that he can put his name on, and then the name of all his sponsors that he can wear to the tower events for MetaZoo this year.
Did you hear an official Basic sponsor?
Yeah, you gave him. I heard the recent auction went for like $150, but at the time you gave it to him, auctions were going for like $250 or $300 or something.
I better be the top one listed.
That is a good. Mr. Walrus says we need a Cash Me at Collecticon apparel. That's a good one. That, like, you know that meme, like the Cash Me Outside girl from Dr. Phil? Yeah.
Yep.
Cash Me at Collecticon, Cash Me Out at Collecticon. Something about the whatnot buyouts. It's all going to come down to, the competition's going to come down to who gets the bigger whatnot buyout. We need, I'm going to hit up Travis and Cloud to hit our section first.
There we go. Oh, man. But yeah, with the shirts and all that, I'm gonna do the same as you pretty much. I already have the shirts, but I do want to get a banner for the table. Those were retractable banners that we got. Those are nice. But they're such a pain to ship down and have to ship back. So I like Josh's idea with
yeah.
Yeah, and then mine broke, so
can't really break a tablecloth, right?
That's the nice thing about it right there. Yes, yeah. Oh.
Mr. Walrus, I did see that you asked this in chat, but we might as well you answered it in chat. We might as well just answer it for the benefit of everyone. You do have one of those pricing guns for pricing your cards, right?
Oh yeah. I bought one at Staples. They're like $100. They come with 2,500 labels. They come with replacement ink, and they'll last forever. So I would recommend that. I think it looks a lot more professional than using stickers with Sharpie on it. Plus, I think it's a lot quicker. Once you kind of get the hang of it's basically a dial that you're turning to change the numbers. Once you get the hang of where all the numbers are, it's really, really quick to come up with a new number and then price stuff. So I would definitely recommend that if anyone's looking to go to these in-person events. The biggest thing is you need to have your stuff priced. You can't go to one of these events without having your stuff priced. I think you lose out on sales when you don't have stuff priced, because a lot of people go to these events and aren't, like, people who are shy. They don't want to ask you what's the price on this. Or it might be someone who's just walking by quickly your booth, and if it just isn't priced, then they might just assume that you're going to be charging ridiculous prices. But if you actually have your stuff priced, I think you're definitely better off. Plus, it saves you time. Sometimes, like Dan was saying, at Orlando, the internet was god awful, so you weren't able to look up this thing. You definitely want to have your stuff priced one way or the other, and I think the price gun's the way to go. And then along those lines, I know a lot of people like to have pricing on the back of their cards. I would, like I was saying earlier, definitely price stickers on the front of your cards. That way people can see it. They don't have to ask you. That's definitely the way to go.
Yeah, don't put any barriers between you and a sale, and especially too because it's a long day. You're gonna have to eat food at some point. Probably you're gonna have to go to the bathroom a time or two, maybe. So you might want to walk around the convention. If and when I leave, I can just say to the person next to me, like, yeah, I'd go down 20% on anything. Some people actually, like, especially say you're only bringing 20 or 40 cards, type up a nice little spreadsheet of like, this is what I have it priced at. If you want to put your own cost basis in it just for your memory. And then like, what would you take? Like say Travis is coming around on a table buyout, trying to buy out your whole thing. Just have all that information handy so that you're not like hurting yourself, your chances at a deal. Like just be ready and then hand it off to somebody. Like, hey, I'm going to go run to the bathroom. I'll be back in a couple minutes. Just so they don't have to call you. They don't have to fumble over it. They don't have to like, yeah, I got it priced for 100, but I'd take 80. Like try to get the 100, but I mean, pick someone you trust to not just say, oh yeah, he'll take 80 before they were about ready to pay the full 100. Like, but absolutely, it's weird. It's weird to not have things priced. I heard of, I've had that interaction with people at tables at like non-Pokemon things too. I used to do all the Beer Stein stuff. And it was just annoying. Like, hey, I want that. I need that one. What have you got on it? And then they're like trying to pull up eBay or they're trying to do. It's like, do that before you go. Easy enough to do. I mean, we got over a month and a half to go. So, Pokemon Cave asked how many more Moonbreons are about to be printed in the next few months. Obviously, my number was an estimate. I gave the range of 50 to 250,000. Quite a big range. One thing that I did predict in my next video, just to throw a number out there, I think it's kind of fun to make predictions based like an educated guess and then see how it pans out. I estimated that they might announce they printed 8 billion cards this year. 9.1 billion was last year. I think I said 6 to 10 is the range I'm presuming, and then 8 billion total. But yeah, if we find out that they printed 12 billion cards, that spreadsheet that I made is a spreadsheet that I'm going to update on an annual basis. So whenever they come out with that next number, whether it's 6 or 8 or 10 or 12, I'm going to take that number and I'm going to look back on what sets was I getting from distributors, what sets were being released in stores, and whether the number 6, 8, 10, or 12, I'm going to try to allocate all those cards into the sets they came from. So yeah, whether that would mean, and again, Evolving Skies could get reprints. This is a different conversation, but people have the conversation. It could just get packs. They could print 50 million more packs of Evolving Skies and not put one of them in a box. They could do it all through tins and collections and sleeve boosters. Who knows? But yeah, the Moonbreon number, I think the last time I made it, it was around 100,000. Next year, I'm sure it will go up some because Evolving Skies has certainly gotten reprints since last July when they said 9.1 billion cards.
Yeah.
We're at. I was just going to say quick, we're like 15 minutes ago, but there's only like one. I don't have to scroll to see all the comments. So just a reminder, we're going to be going another hour and a half. We've still got 90 minutes. We're going to be hanging out with you guys. Feel free to leave your questions. Kind of the way it always goes. We get really far behind, but we are catching up. So yeah, go ahead with what you were saying.
I'm hopeful that we get a fairly substantial amount of new Moonbreons being printed over the next couple months. I would say I'm more confident that we will than we won't. But who knows? It's a weird time right now, going into a new era, all of that stuff. So hopefully we do. But yeah. And then that was actually the thing that I was talking to you about before we went live here. In your last video, how you were talking about the print runs. I had the biggest eye roll when you said 5 to 10 million.
6 to 10, I
and
think
then
I
when
said.
you actually gave a definitive number of 8 million, I was so happy about that.
It's funny because I was thinking about you giving me crap in the comments. If I stuck with 6 to 10 billion, I'm like, that's not going to be good enough for old school Pokemon. So I'm just going to pick the middle number to give one specific number, and then hopefully he'll be happy. So I should have shouted you out there with
I
that.
was so happy.
uh, Mr. Walrus says, thoughts on every single one of us being wealthy if we stop buying children's card games? I'm hoping to buy, but then proceed to sell. I'm hoping to become wealthy, buying and selling, flipping in children's card games. So I think as long as you're doing it with a budget, as long as you're doing it with the right understanding of risk and the right expectations for future prices and things like that, it's all fair. Obviously we're all here. We could be doing anything else, but Nick and I chose to do this full time, not just for the money. I think Nick and I both could do something else where we could make more money, but this is a good intersection of being our own bosses and being passionate and being able to make some money. So
yeah, I 100% agree on that. There are definitely better options to become more wealthy, but I truly enjoy this and enjoy this more than my full-time job. I made more money doing my full-time job, but I enjoy this a lot more. So that's definitely one of the biggest perks for sure.
and I'm at a spot where I think I've mentioned it before in some of my early videos when I quit my job, but if my goal in life was to optimize for money alone, I would have not done Pokemon on the side at all. I would have put 80 to 100 hours a week into chemical engineering. I would have kissed the right butts. I would have played the corporate game, climbed the ladder. That was not me though. Like that was not me at all. And my goal in life isn't to optimize my finances. It's to optimize my happiness and so money is some amount of that, right? Money doesn't directly buy happiness, but if you have none of it, you're not going to be too happy or be able to do anything, right? So I think too, I could have also done better probably keeping this as a side hustle and being a chemical engineer, finding some balance where I was 50 hours a week maybe on that, 10 to 30 hours a week on this. And that probably would have yielded a higher overall lifetime amount of money too. So yeah, it's not just about money by any stretch of the imagination, but the just and as a surprise to nobody who's followed my channel, like the freedom that comes with being my own boss and not being in that corporate space with all the politics of that environment, and it's just well worth it to me. Well worth it to me to be making less than I optimally could. But it was easier too, because like 2020, I actually did. This year I'm making more alone on this. Last year I made more alone on this than I made alone on chemical engineering. But I could have made more doing a blend of both, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
I see in the chat we're gonna be getting into some stuff, but let's continue on.
We got stuff coming up here.
We're not too far from it, so it might be the next one, but let me make sure I don't lose any. I was just joking around. We had somebody in chat. I would recommend to anyone in chat, get into the Collecticon planning Discord. Mason runs the Discord, Cardinal Gaming, but it's an open thing. If you're in like Professor Oak's Discord, I would say just ask about it in there. Someone will send you an invite. But that's where we kind of set up the whole section, planning out the tables, doing payment for tables. Unfortunately, both Nick's section and my section are sold out. If and when people actually have like one or two backup people kind of on a list, if and when anyone drops out. But yeah, I see somebody in the chat was asking if there's any space. Some people are splitting tables, some people are sharing. I made a joke of selling my table for 1K or best offer. But there probably is a play in that. There's probably a play in buying a whole section and then a week before the event trying to sublet your tables.
I could imagine that being a thing. One quick thing on that is tables used to last a decent amount of time before each show. I know in Long Beach, I booked my table last year, maybe 2-3 weeks before the actual show, and it wasn't the best location for a table, but there were still tables available. This year it seems to be the opposite. Tables are selling out very quickly. So if you do want to vend one of these CollectCons, follow CollectCon on Instagram, go to CollectCon's website, sign up for email notifications, and book your tables as early as possible. Orlando sold out very, very quickly. Dallas took a little bit longer, but also sold out very quickly. And I think that's going to be a trend going forward for each show. So if you do want to vend, definitely stay on top of it. Book your table as soon as possible, so that way you can first get a table, and then secondly, kind of get a good table closer to the entrance.
Yep. G1T Landon, we did touch on this briefly earlier, probably a couple hours ago at this point. Rusty did a Neo Destiny box break the other night. Nick popped in at one point. I popped in periodically a couple times. He did end up selling out. It was mentioned in chat what he pulled. Shining Tyranitar and Shining... What was the other one? Celebi, maybe?
Steelix?
Steelix?
No,
I don't remember. Mewtwo, okay. So yeah, I watched a part of it, but I wasn't entirely sure if the packs had sold out, but we did hear they did. He opened the full box, which was cool. And then Blazer OP has a quick question for you. Can he consign a Dragon Ball Super Pure Silver card that's limited to 555?
Sure. I mainly stick with Pokemon, but like James, Rusty, I do branch out a little bit and do other stuff. Personally, I don't know how much better I would do selling something like that than if you listed it yourself, because I don't have anything outside of Pokemon listed on my eBay. I think my specialty is like the Pokemon stuff, because my store has and always will be 99.999% Pokemon. So all of my feedback, all of my followers, all of the people who have bought from me before, have bought in Pokemon cards. Nobody's going to my eBay store looking for Dragon Ball, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, whatever. So I think it would be an advantage because of like the reputation and following that I have on eBay, but I don't think it would be as big of an advantage as listing it yourself if you have a decent amount of feedback and sales history on eBay. But if you do want to consign it with me, I do take stuff outside of Pokemon as well.
And I think, like, because I do a little bit myself as well, not only consignment, but like I have some of my own Naruto now. I have some of my own Dragon Ball Super and DBZ Score. One consideration I had is like, well, all my followers, when they get the notifications that I've listed new items, they might see these Yu-Gi-Oh, see these DBZ scores, see these things like this. They won't care. They're less likely to care because most of what I do is Pokemon. But eBay is great in that if I'm low list for that given card and someone out there is searching for it, regardless of if they've ever bought from me, eBay will serve it up to them. I'm going to be the low list on those cards. So say, I don't know if he's talking about an auction or buy it now, but either way, if you can sign it with Nick, it's on eBay, which is just a great, if someone's searching that card, they will find it in Nick's store, whether or not they deal with Pokemon at all. So, and if Nick doesn't want it, I mean, I do consignments too, so just not auctions, just buy it now. Vandy Flip says he's gonna fractionalize his table at Collecticon. He's gonna give out fractionalized shares. He's gonna sell maybe through the liquid marketplace. We'll have to see. And
there we go.
Now we're on the question you've been waiting for. I'll let you go first too. I'll serve it up and then you can knock it out of the park. Ghetto. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I think I am. But how do you guys feel about these PokeTubers opening products weeks before release without Pokemon's permission? Will they ever get in trouble for it?
So I don't like it whatsoever. I think there's only one reason why they do these early openings, and that's to get views. Obviously, the new sets have a lot of attention to them, so the first person who uploads a Crown Zenith video is going to get an absolute ton of views because it's the first video. Everyone's looking forward to the set. Everyone wants to see packs being opened. So that's why they do it right there, is just to get the views on their channel. But I really don't like the idea of early product at all. I think it's because it's like a disadvantage to everyone. The only people that get early product are these big, semi-big influencers, and I think they have like an obligation to have like a certain time frame of when they release these videos. Like Crown Zenith comes out next Friday. We're gonna start to see a ton of Crown Zenith videos, probably Sunday, Monday, definitely by Tuesday. And I think that's fine because that's when distributors get product to stores and people like me and Dan. But coming out with a video 3 weeks prior to the actual release is definitely ridiculous. And personally, I don't think you can say that, hey, this product was released early. It wasn't stolen. I can't see that happening. Sure, maybe it was put out early by some Target, Walmart, but I think there's a higher likelihood that the product was just stolen somehow, whether that be someone taking it out of Target's back room and selling it to Dr. Applesauce or giving it to Dr. Applesauce or whatever. But yeah, I don't like the idea for it. I wish Pokemon would do a better job cracking down on people who are doing these very, very early openings. It doesn't seem like Pokemon's doing too much to stop this kind of stuff. I've never liked the idea of even like just like leaks of the different cards and the different sets. I always like to go into new sets being surprised and not knowing what's in there. And I try my hardest not to look at the different cards. It really is impossible. I try my hardest not to look though. Like Crown Zenith, I know a little bit, but it seems like Pokemon is doing a little bit better of a job, kind of keeping that information close, because like Silver Tempest, we basically knew the entire set before it came out. Crown Zenith, I think there's still at least some mystery involved, which is nice. That's the way I like it though. I don't like all these early leaks and all that, and then people getting early product on Whatnot. I think that's a major problem that really needs to be stopped. Like there's already sellers on Whatnot selling Crown Zenith packs, and they're all going $20-$25 a piece. I think Whatnot needs to crack down on that and not allow people to do these streams selling Crown Zenith until maybe not the day of release, but at least a few days before release. Ideally, it would be the day of release, like TCG Player does. Normal sellers on TCG Player, you can't list Crown Zenith product. You can list Crown Zenith product right now, but it's not going to go live until midnight on Friday. I think Whatnot, eBay need to get better at kind of preventing people from listing all of this early product. But it doesn't seem to be happening right now. What are some of your thoughts on that?
I think you touched on one point where, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you said something about you don't really like that they give some big influencers product early to open and like show on the channel.
Well, not so much. I was for that. I was more so saying like the stolen product. Whoever took that product, assuming that's what happened, which I definitely think that's what happened. They're not going to give it to some random kid. They're going to give it to some big influencer who's going to show it.
So whoever sent it to the influencer in question. At first, I heard you say that, and I thought you were almost speaking out against like Pokemon deciding to give like a first look to a Leonhardt or to a Super Duper Danny, whoever they choose, PokeRev. Because that I was gonna push back and I was gonna say like they own it. They set the release date. They can allow whatever spoiling they want to allow. I mean, it's literally their product. So I was just gonna start by pushing back on that if that was your take, but I think I just misunderstood you. On the whole stolen property thing, we don't know. I think one thing is we don't know the true source. Obviously, if it's stolen, like, yeah, I mean, objectively, it's illegal, it's wrong, it's bad, no good. I think there was a bit of a controversy with Silver Tempest, right? I try to not get sucked up into these whole drama PokeTube things, but from time to time, I mean, I'm human, I do. I followed it a little bit, but with Silver Tempest, I think some videos were pulled. I think Pokemon reached out to some people and they were actually pulled, right? But I think that was significantly earlier than it was in this situation. Whether it was an early stocking of Target or Walmart, whether it was stolen product, I don't have the information. If it was stolen product, definitively, I'm on the side that it's wrong. The video shouldn't have been made. They should be pulled, whatever, because that's illegal. That's wrong. That's bad. If it was like Walmart stocked early and someone went and bought it, Walmart put it out, I mean, that's an issue between Walmart and Pokemon. And if Pokemon wants to pursue it, they can. But how do you police that? Like, if someone goes into Walmart and they decide, I want to open some of this and put it on YouTube, you can't really... I guess it comes down to what responsibility does just an individual consumer have? And I think they owe nothing to Pokemon. If they buy it legitimately and then decide to share their experience on YouTube, like, that's fair play. But the crux of the issue is we don't know whether it was stolen or bought, right? And I seen some people like show the receipts and I threw away the receipt, blah, 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 whatever. I don't really know and I don't really care. Like, me personally, I don't look for spoiler videos. I didn't watch these videos in question. I watched a couple talking about the drama, which in all reality, it probably just shouldn't. I should probably just consume content that makes me feel better and or educates me, right? Not content that makes me like, that's kind of yucky, gross, whatever. So those are my general thoughts. And very similarly, I've seen a couple of people mention in chat, like, no question. If people ask a question about it, I'd put it up on screen and I'd address it best I can. But the whole fake slab thing going around and some of the individuals involved in that, my take is just that I don't have enough information to state too many definitive things. And I don't like going on about all the speculation and all this name calling and all this, like, I just don't have enough information. A lot of people don't need much to just grab their pitchfork, light up their torch, and rabble, rabble, rabble. I guess I need a little bit more before I get incited into full riot mode. But the way the internet is, a lot of people like to get there quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, TLD,
yeah, for sure.
TLDR, TLD, didn't listen. If it was stolen, bad. If it was bought, whatever. I don't know which one it was. So that's my whole take. I guess to go a little bit further, if someone got product and offered it to me, like, let me put myself in someone else's shoes. If someone said, hey, I had this set a month before it comes out, will you put it on your channel? Me, being who I am, the way I go about things, like, I'm a partner with MetaZoo. I don't sell under map and I don't open it early. If someone offered to send it to me, my first question would probably be, well, how'd you get it? And if it was, even if it was obtained legitimately, if it was obtained via Walmart, Target, like, even though I could probably get a bunch of views, I guess I'll probably never run into the circumstance. But I'd feel a little weird about streaming it, even if I knew, like, if they FaceTimed me from Walmart, like, hey, I'm going to buy it now. I just bought it. I'm going to send it to you so you can be the first one to open a month early. I'd still feel a little... I might ultimately do it, just knowing that it was obtained legitimately. But if it was stolen or if there was no proof, like, me personally, I'm not saying everyone has to do this, but me personally, if I didn't know the source and it was that early, I wouldn't do it just for the potential drama, the potential ramifications. I don't want, like, Pokemon calling me or any kind of an issue on that front. So that's what I would do in that situation. What would you do? Like, one of your viewers hits you up, hey, Nick, I've got this a month early. Would you even inquire? Would you just blindly take it and open it and bask in the views? Or, like, what would be your strategy?
I am shocked at this new Dan. You're worse than me not putting my shopping cart away. No, I think if you want to see change, like I don't like seeing these early leaks. I want that to change. You have a moral obligation to be part of that change. So even if someone legitimately bought that at Walmart, Target, wherever, I would not want to show it early. I would wait until next week to do that type of video. Because I want things to change. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite and change my views because I want to get not saying you are, Dan.
And just to say, like, I don't have a universe, like, I don't personally seek out spoilers because I just don't care to have it spoiled for me, but I don't think they're inherently good or bad. Like, when Pokemon deems that, hey, we're going to send Leonhardt a box to open early, Super Duper Danny, PokeRev, Unlisted Leaf, guys like that, I don't seek out that content and consume it, but I don't think it's inherently good or bad. It just is, right? As long as nothing was obtained illegally or through devious means, then I think it's kind of fair play. But yeah, maybe ultimately, like, I've never been faced with this. It's a hypothetical that I'm just being thrown on the spot live, having to answer to. Maybe I'd ultimately decide to not. I honestly don't know. And I'm unlikely to ever face the circumstance anyways. But yeah, sorry to cut in. Keep going.
No, you're good. Yeah, no, I think I wouldn't do that because of my principles there. And because I want to see this stuff change. So you can't have that double standard. But yeah, with the whole, so like with early product, legitimate early product, I would consider stuff that Pokemon directly is sending to Leonhardt, PokeRev, Real Breaking Nate. And that early product, I think, is okay because Pokemon's sending it out, saying, hey, open this product on your channel, knowing that those videos are going to get a ton of views and it's going to hype up the newest set. I think that's just a form of advertising. But when people get stolen product or people buy product from Walmart that's before the street date and show it on YouTube, I think all of that is the same, whether it be stolen or actually purchased from Walmart. It wasn't supposed to be purchased from Walmart. So I would lump that as the same as it being stolen product. I don't think there's a difference there.
And I guess to be fair too, like, I am in a weird spot where, like, my distributors don't hook me up with product too early. Usually I get mine slightly after release. It's not a big deal because I'm an online retailer. I'm not doing mass box breaks, but you usually get stuff like a week early, right? And if and when I ever get like my pallet of MetaZoo early, I will not stream with it. I will not do anything I'm not supposed to do with it. I will follow the rules. So if I ever got my Pokemon a week early, I'm not going to be listing or shipping for eBay early. I'm going to be playing by the rules. So yeah, I guess just given all the, I mean, thinking through it live on the spot, I'm leaning more towards no, I wouldn't, because one thing that could come into question, well, Dan's just fabricating this story about a viewer. He's actually just taking his product that he got early, or he bought one of those stolen eBay listings himself. Because I do, from time to time, I'll get items 5 days early or something, but it's rare. Usually I'm a couple days late. But yeah, I wouldn't violate my distributor agreement to like sell product early. You wait till release date to release it, right? That's the whole point. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's an interesting conversation around it all. I think some people get way too worked up in either case. Obviously, if it's stolen, it's illegal, it's bad. We don't know that though. We don't know that for sure. Unless there's information out there that I didn't see that other people sought out and so they know more about it. But at the end of the day, like, I think just the internet in general tries to witch hunt too much, too often, with too little information for my comfort. Because the implications, it is plausible. It is plausible that it went out early to Target. It is plausible it went out early to Walmart. Someone bought it, sent it to somebody. You and I, in that circumstance, might not open it, whatever. But is it harming anybody? Is it actually, like, people are, and I don't know if it happened in this instance, the internet's crazy. death threats, all kinds of vile things that go on. When people start doing that kind of stuff over Pokemon cards being opened early, that is like way over the line. So just the whole internet witch hunt culture in general. I just like, I like to pump the brakes in general around that kind of thing, because at the end of the day, keeping context, like what's going on here. We're talking about shiny cardboard being shown maybe a couple weeks too early. Not good, maybe illegal even. We don't know for sure, but let's not like harass or threaten to assault or like give death threats to anybody involved, because that is way over the top. I think we can at least all sane, rational people. Yeah, sane, rational people can agree on that point at least. I guess I'll say. But anything else to add on that before we go to the next one? I do have the next one queued up.
No, I think we covered that one pretty well. Yeah, we're never gonna know for sure, but based on the evidence that's out there in his own videos, I can't see how it was purchased legally. And whether it was purchased legally or not, I lump it all in the same, like I said, and I don't think it's right. But yeah, I think we covered that one pretty good.
Yeah. Sterling Stauber asks, do you price at market when at Collecticon, or do you price a bit lower? General disclaimer I always give, market price is not a thing. Market price does not exist. These are non-fungible, illiquid items. So my strategy going to Collecticons, I try to price well. I do not want everything I bring to Collecticon, I want to sell. So I try to price well. It is a really weird thing. There are many booths you can visit that they will have cards actively priced 10, 20, 50, if not 100% over. Not just recent sold. No one has any requirement or need to sell at recent sold auctions, but there are people that will go and list above like low list buy it now. So that always kind of throws me. It's like, why do these people bring, I mean, sometimes some amount of it sells. So fair play, they can do whatever they want. But me personally, I always price below what I list on eBay, if not by 10%, 20%, something pretty reasonable. I still might be above recent auctions, because that's what one thing people get hung up on, kind of a pet peeve of mine. People think they have an entitlement to buy for what recent auctions go for. People think that data points are market price, and they are not. Just because an item sells at auction for XYZ price doesn't mean that's market price, and that doesn't mean that people have to price to that. So if I bring something really good to Collecticon that I think has good long-term prospects and that I think is going to go up from here, I'm more likely to price it higher, more likely to price it towards low list on eBay than recent completed auctions on eBay. But if I have something that I think the prospects are worse for and I just want to get rid of, just in general, same way I price on eBay. If it's something, I'll be more closer to last auction, minus 15%, maybe minus 20% if we're talking cash. But no one owes that to you. No one owes that to anyone, right? At the end of the day, all it is data points. I just want to push back on the whole market price thing, because I get a lot of messages every week about, hey, market price is this. Will you sell for this? One, market price is not that. That's what the last data point was. But, I mean, I'm the lowest list on the market. If that's market price, go buy for it. I had that interaction like 3 times this past week, I think, where people actually got mad. It's one thing if people say, will you match low list? And I say, no, sorry, price is firm. And then it's done. Okay. But some people really get like persistent, and they really send 5, 6, 7, 8 messages pushing back. Like, and then like, you're crazy. You're never going to sell for that. Ha ha ha. This is going to, okay, whatever, weirdo. Buy it or don't buy it. If that's market price, someone else will gladly sell it to you. But sorry for the little rant there, but
oh, I got one coming.
Good.
So speaking of auction pricing versus buy it now pricing, last night I had someone messaged me on eBay wanting to purchase 2 PSA 8 Expedition, a Pharaoh, and an Arbok. I said I would go. I had them priced at $75 a piece, which that was kind of old pricing. I said I would go down to $60 a piece on them, and he was wanting to pay the last sold, which was an auction listing, for $48. Yet when you look at the last sold on eBay, there was the most recent was a buy it now at 65. The second most recent was a buy it now at 60 plus $4.99 shipping, so 65. And then the third most recent was that auction at $48. So I told him I wasn't going to accept 40, whatever he wanted to pay, 48. And he just kept sending me these messages saying, how about 50? How about 52? How about 55? And I kept saying, no, 60, 60, 60. And finally, he sent an offer at 58. And at this point, after all of those messages, normally 58, 60, okay, I'll accept it, whatever. I actually declined his offer, though, at 58, just because of the principle, because he pissed me off so much. So yeah, the auction listings are just a data point. There's also buy it now listings that you have to factor in. Normally, auctions are going to go cheaper than buy it nows, and I typically don't usually price my stuff according to auction prices. I'll normally go off buy it now pricing. But getting to the actual question here. Pricing for Collecticon, I do. So typically I always bring stuff that I have listed on eBay. Like I said, all of my stuff listed on eBay is buy it now or best offer. So typically everything that I have listed on eBay, I'll go a little bit less than my buy it now price. So what I do is I price everything at that kind of best offer range of what I would accept on eBay. And then the negotiation is a little bit further down from that. So basically taking off the eBay fee of what the minimum I would accept on eBay minus the 10-ish% that I would save selling it off of eBay is kind of what I leave for negotiation room. And then if people are purchasing more cards, then I'll knock a couple more percent off if they're wanting to buy more cards or more expensive cards or whatever.
Yeah, and it's at the end of the day, there's no like universal rule that I have either. I don't take my eBay listings because most things that I bring, I do pull off eBay. If I have a recent submission that just landed and the cards hadn't yet hit eBay, I obviously have to generate new pricing for them. But it's, I guess if I wanted to generalize, if I had to generalize, maybe 25% below my eBay low list. But that's probably still for a lot of things above recent sold. There are certain things though, I'll check recent auctions. Yeah, I'll match recent auctions because I've got 30 of them and because I think it's going to go down from here. But if it's a thing that I've only got one of them and I think this price is already pretty reasonable, I'll go above last sold. And it's item by item, as always.
Yeah.
Your average player in Cam about 30 minutes ago had a funny back and forth in the chat.
Oh, I missed that whole thing. Oh, about your mom, calling your mom on.
Yeah. Friendly banter, not like actual, not like a dramatic one. G1T Landon asks if you had any luck finding Viridian City League badges.
Oh, so I want to say that's the one I have 7 of. I only have those 7. I'm missing that one. I have a. It's right here. Oh yeah. So here's one. So for example, I don't know if I'll be able to show this. This. Back to Discord. This bin is all one badge, and this is I have 7 bins like this. Yet I don't have a single badge of that last one, the Viridian City one. So I don't know what happened with Rusty there, but he didn't get many of the Viridian City badges, or they just sold out really quickly.
Yeah. So if anybody's got a couple hundred Viridian City badges, hit up Nick. He needs more pins. Paper Planes asks, do you think there are investors outside of the US investing in English product? Almost certainly. I know there were several base set English first edition booster boxes like with international people holding them. And there's just a lot of big international buyers of all kinds of Pokemon product in general. So there's a lot of English / like in America, in the United States, there's a lot of people buying, investing, dealing in Japanese sealed product, vice versa. It's definitely going on outside of the States as well. There's official distribution of English product outside of the US as well. I think somebody mentioned earlier Asmodee, I don't know how to say it exactly, but they're the European distributor, I believe, for Pokemon. So surely some amount of people are buying those and sitting on them, right? What percent, what effect does that have? I can't get into that, but
yeah, I would definitely imagine there's people outside of the U.S. Hoarding English product. The same as like people in the U.S. There's definitely people in the U.S. holding Japanese product, large positions of Japanese product. I would imagine it's similar to that. Biggest thing like that though is I would imagine your cost basis is a lot higher, especially with international shipping. International shipping is not cheap. But then again, pricing over there is also a lot higher. So I think I would imagine it evens out.
Shadowless Jack says Crown Zenith ETB's at his target yesterday, but they wouldn't let him buy it till street date. Yeah, we're getting really close. I mean, it's a week from tomorrow, so it's not surprising that they'll start showing up sometime over the next week, if not within the past couple days. And it's going to be case by case. Like a lot of the workers might not know or care, right? They'll just ring it through the register. I don't know if maybe Target or Walmart, maybe they would have some kind of a thing built into the register where it won't allow it through. I kind of doubt that though. And if you get the wrong person who either just one isn't informed or two doesn't care, I mean, how many thousands of Targets are there across the US? So it wouldn't be surprising if some were to leak out here and there that weren't supposed to. That's why I come from the more cautious angle of like, I don't know that this is stolen. Obviously, if it's 2 months early, the longer you get before release date, I think the more certain you can be something nefarious happened. But there's no like line in the sand that I say, well, 29 days, let's let that fly because we don't know for sure. 30 days and more, get out the pitchforks. It's not that easy either. I don't know what the numbers would be. I've never worked in any of these retail stores. I don't know what kind of dates they're flowing through. It's just a difficult thing. And at the end of the day, like, it doesn't have a massive effect. You can avoid watching the content if you don't like it, and you don't need to get so stirred up in the drama. Like, if it's being a detriment to your ability to enjoy your day and be happy in life, then I would look into what's going on there, why you let it affect you so much. I guess I would say. Mr. Walrus says if you're not pitchfork ready, do you even internet? Oh, Squeaks does say self-checkout, amigos. Good point. We do have, I don't think we have Targets with self. I haven't been to our Target in so long. We have one that's like 20 minutes away. I don't really ever go to. But Walmarts do have them near me. Were you gonna add
Targets are the way to go. Well, Walmarts are the slummy version of Targets.
That might be why where I live has more of them than we have Targets, I guess.
Oh.
And actually, here's another good comment by Mr. Walrus. Dan doesn't want the Pokey Smoke, but will square up with the Magic community over Magic 30th. I genuinely did not buy that. I did not buy that for the sole intent of like making people mad. I did not buy that with the sole intent of like, maybe this can be my channel's one big break to blow up. And that is not at all what that was. That was, I genuinely was the target consumer for that product. I opened some beta. I bought a beta pack down in Orlando. I gambled. I'm a gambler just by inherently, like at my core. That product had a lot of allure to me, so I went for it. And since I was going for it, it was in the card space. I do my MetaZoo on this channel. I do my Pokemon on this channel. I showed Naruto, Yu Yu Hakusho, DBZ, DBS. Whatever I'm doing, not all of it, but a lot of it, I'm going to show on this channel. And I thought that was a fun video to make. But yeah, it was definitely not propelled by drama at all. That was just, I mean, it was going on. It is what it is, I guess.
How did that video do for you?
It wasn't even like, I honestly thought it might do better. I thought it might get picked up. Like I knew, obviously, I knew that what was going on, and I thought it could get a lot of views. And honestly, I was a little worried it might, with a lot of negativity in them. So I'm kind of thankful it didn't. But when I posted it, I want to say it was like, I don't get too in-depth in my analytics, but usually the day after I post a video, I'll just see, like, you know how it gives you 1 out of 10? I always like to look like a day later. And it was like a 4 out of 10 video. It wasn't my best for the week. It wasn't my worst for the week. It was just kind of in the middle.
I would have thought that would have been a hotter take video doing better.
And I got some interesting. It was actually, I had some interesting conversations around it. There was one magic tuber, I guess, that actually did a couple live videos about my video, and I think he really hates Rudy. So he was capitalizing on some of the lines that I said, kind of jokingly, how Rudy pumped me and dumped me with the 1 of 1 card that I pulled. He latched onto some of that and called me, like, what did he call me? King Timmy, Lord Timmy, King of the Lemmings, or something like that. Just talking about how dumb I was. And it was just so, like, hearing an outside looking in perspective on my interaction with that product, spending $3,000. It was actually, like, kind of fascinating to hear. I've never been really reacted to by anyone else, and I don't think I will be much in the future. But it was really funny and interesting to hear. And it was like negative in, I mean, it was probably negative in like a kind of a mean way, but I genuinely don't care. And it wasn't like, I didn't get any kind of a threat. I mean, I had some people say, I'm unsubbing, I can't believe you opened that. It was interesting to see some of the interactions with my community. And then some of the ones that came over from his videos and left some contents. It wasn't like, or comments. It wasn't like anything bad. It was just like, I don't agree with you buying that. I don't know why you supported that. And I kind of elaborated in my video why I did. So just an interesting debate, conversation, whatever. But like civil overall. So
yeah,
it was fine.
Yeah.
I was a little worried I might get some super weirdos commenting on it and trying to say some dumb stuff. But thankfully nobody did. Yeah, NP Pokemon says the early openings are lame. It almost ruins the hype for me, and I get my fix before the set's even out. I'm doing this full time, so I'm hyper engaged in Pokemon. If I see a spoiler video, I don't watch it. Where it gets the most difficult is in Discords. A lot of people are good about using spoiler tags. At the end of the day, like these days, I don't even open much English product, if any. So it doesn't bother me that much. I could see the people that it would affect most are people that frequent Instagram and Discord and don't want to see it, because I don't know how you could interact with either of those platforms without seeing many spoilers. Like a month before the release, you just have to stop going on those platforms. And but for me, like I see them occasionally. I don't look too deep into them, and it doesn't affect me. But yeah, so NP Pokemon, if you're on Instagram or Discord, you're kind of out of luck. You got to choose spoilers or like the platform. But if you're not, like if you're just on YouTube, I think you can pretty reasonably just not engage with it, and it won't like take away much. You might have a content creator too that you like to watch all their videos. You might have to skip one here or there if they get into it. But other than that, I think you can largely ignore, aside from Discord and Instagram.
Yeah. Discord, Instagram, Facebook, impossible.
Yeah.
I liked Squeak's comment. Did you see his?
I do. I watched the live chat here. Yeah. Okay, Dan, you live in the middle of nowhere. They probably don't even have registers, and they just log your orders on scratch pads or stone carvings. I actually lately, my Walmart even is like 20 minutes away. I have 3 Walmarts, all 20 minutes away. One in each direction. I guess there's not one south of me within 20 minutes, I don't think. But I'm doing delivery more and more because it's like so out of my way. And by the time you figure 20 minutes to go there and then wait, well, either go in myself and shop, now you're talking a couple hours, or just 20 minutes to go, 10 minutes to wait, load the car, 20 minutes to drive back, almost an hour using my own gas, my own car, wear and tear, whatever. If I just pay a $10, $15 tip for someone else to deliver it, I've just been doing that more and more. See, that's a way to create jobs without destroying property. I can pay someone a tip, they get a wage from Walmart to deliver my order, plus I tip them on top. So someone is earning a wage, I created a job, and I'm not destroying property with sharpen carts flying around the whole parking lot. So there are ways to non-obstructive create jobs out there, just to inform you. Let me make sure I didn't skip. I came down to highlight Squeak's comment. Let me make sure I didn't skip any.
You had one about the something about PokeTubers.
Oh yeah. Who do you think will be the top 3 subscribed PokeTubers? I mean, who even is it now? Is it Unlisted Leaf, then Leonhardt?
I think Unlisted Leaf, Leonhardt, and then probably PokeRev.
I'm assuming it'll be the same, except PokeRev will just jump to first.
I'm gonna say I think he'll be second. I think he'll be a close second. I don't even know how many Unlisted. I think Unlisted Leaf is.
That's the thing. I don't know how.
2.5 million subscribers. I don't even know, but I think it'll be Unlisted Leaf is number 1. PokeRev is number 2. Leonhardt is number 3.
If it's that big of a gap, see, I would go to Social Blade, and then I would plot out their last 2 months, because you do get the plots. I would just superimpose one plot on the other, and then I would do like a regression curve, regression analysis to forecast PokeRev and see what the math shows. I don't think I care enough though to go through all that, but you could do that.
I don't think I'll quite make it into the top 3 this year. Maybe next year though.
You're the top 3 for me. Now that you're on the platform again. I got completely lost. Oh, okay, I got lost because I had highlighted it. I had highlighted that question. I think we're caught up then. I think we're completely live.
Yeah, I see one more question about what do you do modern regular holos?
Oh, that one did just come in. Yeah, so Ghetto asked, what do you do with modern regular holos? You want to go ahead?
Yeah. So I do a lot of singles on TCG Player from the openings that I do. So so with Silver Tempest, I actually tried building complete sets. So your holos, rares, uncommons, and commons. Those kind of complete sets, and those actually did really, really well for me on eBay. So going forward, I'm going to build as many complete sets as possible, and then after I run out of a card to build a complete set, which is normally going to be one of the holos, then I'll list all the remainder of them as individual cards on TCG Player and sell them that way. Your holos and your reverse holos, and even your non-holo rares, sell really, really well on TCG Player, and they sell for decent pricing if you're ever looking to get into doing like that type of business model. It's not like decent meaning a couple bucks, but it's decent meaning like 20-30 cents compared to your non-holos selling for 2 to 5 cents a piece. That's actually really good in my opinion. And they oversell, and they sell really well. So I would do that with them if you want to get into that type of business model. If not, just bulk them out to a bulk buyer.
Yeah, and I haven't been opening. I haven't been opening much Pokemon. I don't have much. I put them into a monster box, I guess, for now. And I have a handful of unsorted monster boxes. If we're talking MetaZoo, because it doesn't specify Pokemon, I do sell MetaZoo single holos on my eBay. But yeah, I'm not in that game right now for Pokemon, so I guess I sell them on Troll and Toad Evo would be the answer if I end up with them through there. Your average player asked, we don't think DPM can overtake any of them. I think Deep Pocket Monster, he is growing massively. I don't think top 3. Maybe. I mean, it might be plausible. He'd have to really go nuts. But I mean, he has grown crazy since he's been in here in the space. And I just think top 3 would be like quite an increase to his sub rate. And then
yeah, I can't see it happening.
What's he at, like 600 or 700K?
I do really like his channel. Somewhere around there. I do really like his channel, but yeah, maybe part of it is because I like his channel. Like Unlisted Leaf, Leonhardt, PokeRev. I don't like any of their videos, but Deep Pocket Monster, I actually watch some of his videos, and maybe that's why he's not like growing as fast as PokeRev, is because people like you, me, not like the mainstream people who are watching into Pokemon are watching his videos, and it's not just like the constant modern pack.
I just looked quick. Unlisted Leaf has 2.62 million. PokeRev has 1.78. Leonhardt has 1.8. So PokeRev should be passing Leonhardt like this or next month. I do think PokeRev will probably get, well, that'd be 900,000 more subscribers. I don't know. I guess I might agree with you. Unlisted Leaf, then PokeRev, then Leonhardt. But Pat Flynn, Deep Pocket Monster is actually 480,000. So I don't think he'd crack top 3. He'd have to get like 1.3 million, 1.4 million subscribers if Leonhardt doesn't get any. And I'd imagine Leonhardt gets some too, though. So, but yeah, I watch a little bit. I'm not subbed to any of them. I use my subscriptions. Like, I only really subscribe to people that I watch at least the majority of their videos. If I'm subscribed to you, I'm probably watching more than half of your videos. Because a lot of people don't use the subscriptions feed at all. I actually do use it. I go through the subscriptions feed every day or two to just add things to my watch later that I want to see. And I mean, no offense against those people, because obviously they're making content that is way more successful than ours. Way more people care to watch their content. So I don't think they're going to take offense by this, but I'm not subscribed to any of the 4 of them, but I do get pushed into my, I do also look at the recommended, and just way lower percentage of videos that I take from my recommended to put into my watch later, way higher portion comes from my subscriptions. And that's, I mean, you would know the name of people, a lot of people in the chat, a lot of people in our like little bubble, our little community in this PokeTubes market talk space. But yeah, I don't really see Unlisted Leafs videos at all. I've watched 1 or 2. Leonhardt really doesn't get recommended to me at all. I guess it's more PokeRev and Pat Flynn, Deep Pocket Monster. And I might watch one of their videos a month or something. Maybe not even that, but
yeah, I watch a decent, not a ton, but a decent bit of Deep Pocket Monster. Like all of his like the challenge videos, complete this set in so much time. I actually like those videos. But yeah, Leonhardt and PokeRev with the whole just modern pack after modern pack. Not a big fan of those.
And I think most of the mainstream YouTube videos are inherently visual. And I just, like Pokemon Classics would be the one exception to the rule. I'm subscribed to him. I think I've watched all his videos for the past, several months at a minimum. And we've talked about this before. Like, my productivity goes down when one of his videos gets posted because I have to watch it. His are very visual usually with all his editing and all that. But 95% of my YouTube content consumption is content like this. This is not visual at all. You don't need to see Nick and I on screen to just hear what we're saying. Like, this is nice, passive, 1.5x or live in the background while you're packing orders, while you're doing listings, while you're sourcing cards, whatever it may be, while you're at your 9 to 5. So yeah, it's just completely different kinds of content.
Yeah, exactly.
I did highlight Basic's comment. He says, if I win the MetaZoo Water Tower tournament, I'm getting my sponsors, Dan and Nick logos, tatted on my lower back. It's more of a
Oh, there
statement.
we go.
It's more of a statement than a question. I don't know why you put a question mark at the end. It sounds like he's making a statement. If he wins the 25K, he's going to get our logos tatted. So hopefully he wins. I mean, I'm rooting for him.
I'm holding you to that, Basic. You're gonna look like Travis going twice over there pretty soon. It's just gonna be covered in different people's logos.
Yeah, he's got a lot of sponsors because every time I do the box breaks, like anyone who sends their bulk to him from their boxes that they don't want, he just like adds them to his list of sponsors. I think he's got like 10 or 12 right now. Java says
man.
Deep Pocket Monster has more views in the last 30 days than either Leon or Leaf. Yeah, the main thing he's lacking in is just the timing, right? I mean, he's been here not as long. So he's getting more views overall, but he just doesn't have a subscriber count due to time. Yeah, PokeRev, 80 million views at one point, like a week or two ago. 80 million views in the prior 30 days. I don't know if that's gone up or down now, but absolutely incredible. Not just big for PokeTube, that is big for YouTube. One thing that shocked me, now that I say it, let me just pull it up. I was shocked he wasn't higher. I'm just going to pull up his Social Blade so I can see.
Oh, I was surprised. We were talking about that the other night. I was surprised when you said
I was going to say I forget who I was talking to, but it was you actually. So
yeah.
Let me just pull it up. You'll probably see my messy desk. You'll see like a bunch of slabs, but let me go to the screen share quick. Yeah, you see my rocket slabs there. Let me get Let me get my Chrome pulled up. PokeRev's YouTube stats, Social Blade. Here we go. So he has 1.78 million subscribers. Sorry, Nick, you're gonna see this like 30 seconds behind. That puts him.
Yeah, I know.
So where are we? He has in his last in December, he gained 86 million views in December. Looks like we don't have like a trailing 30 days. It's just month by month. And then he gained 180,000 subscribers in December. Look at these charts, like parabolic. It's insane. And that only puts him 80 something million views. However they rank these. I don't know what Social Blade rank means exactly. I don't know if it necessarily means like on a views per 30 days basis, but that puts him at 3,500th. I don't know if that means there's 3,523 YouTubers with more than 86 million views in 30 days. I don't think so, because I think it's kind of an algorithm. I think it's kind of a hybrid of a couple different things, but that's mind-blowing. Somehow he has these numbers, and that's only good enough on Social Blade to get an A-, and that's only good enough to be called 3,524th. Like, blows my mind that there are that many that large channels, right? Like that was the conversation we had the other night, just in a call. But mind-blowing what he's doing. Not just big for PokeTube, objectively just a large channel for YouTube, in YouTube terms in general. Crazy.
Yeah, that is wild for sure.
Do you guys recall when the global market was in a recession, probably around 2008, and how that affected the Pokemon market? Stormfront was released in the end of 2008 with Platinum in 2009. Unfortunately, I was not involved until 2014, so I have no commentary around what happened during that time frame because I just wasn't here.
Yeah, same with me. I wasn't back in yet. Could not tell you.
And then
I would imagine it had very little effect. I don't know if you saw Rusty's video the other day. He did a video on the using the Wayback Machine, talking about some of the pricing back in the day, and pricing for stuff was just dirt cheap. So I would imagine it had very little, if any, effect. Because I mean,
and the only thing I want to push back on that, I think recessions and depressions will have effect on markets when they're doing really well. Because like, the market is massive for Pokemon right now. So I just want to be careful that like Pokemon is not recession, depression proof. It was so small then that the overall, like the magnitude of the effect would have been just a ton smaller because it was tiny to begin with. not tiny. Like
Yeah.
Pokemon in its depths was still massive. I mean, it's relative term. It wasn't like a new Kickstarter TCG these days or anything. It wasn't like a new, but it was still big. It was still mass printed. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't have anything to share from that exact time frame. But if and when we go into one, a big one, it'll have an effect to some extent. How much nobody knows. And then I'm assuming kind of a meme question. How did the Great Depression affect 1929 to 1938 baseball card single prices? I definitely wasn't around during then. If I had to guess, I would say baseball cards were largely not worth much for quite a long while. Pokemon, Nick just touched on Rusty's video. $30, $25, $30, $40 base set, jungle, fossil, rocket, booster boxes. Pokemon in large part is worth so much today because it had a decade plus of massive attrition, collections being thrown out, booster boxes being thrown out. And that's one of the arguments, vintage versus modern, all this big PokeTube drama that comes up, vintage versus modern. One thing that modern doesn't have today and might never get, it might never get the massive attrition that Pokemon saw between 2002 and 2012. Presumably on a long enough timeline, it's going to die ultimately, right? It's going to die someday, probably 1,000 years from now. Will there be Pokemon? I have no idea. There could be, but it's reasonable to think that it might die between now and then. What's that going to look like? No idea. I don't think it's anytime soon, though. It will. I'm quite confident Pokemon is going to outlive me. But will there be periods like the 2002 to 2012 in the next, hopefully, 50 years of my life? There could be. I don't know. Really hard to say. If you would ask me 5 years ago what was going to happen in Pokemon and in the world in 5 years, I wouldn't have come up with a lot of what has happened, nor would anybody. Things change. The world moves on in a lot of different ways, unexpected ways. Yeah, Mr. Walrus asking about the algorithm. I think nobody knows exactly how the YouTube or eBay or any of these algorithms work.
Nope.
That was actually one thing. Smitty Werben kind of asking, I think a joking question, but how many more years will Poke Knowledge be on a natural high from being TCA Gaming's #1 PokeTuber? I'm thinking through 2027 is a safe bet. So I was second on that list. I think I think the way, for anyone who knows what I'm talking about, but when you log into your YouTube and you go to the subscriptions feed, or not the subscriptions feed, but I think just home, it'll be on the left side. It'll list all your subscriptions and it'll list them in some order. It is not by how much you view. Like, I don't know for sure what it's based on, but it's absolutely not based on view time alone, because it has to be some blend of view time plus how recently they posted a video plus how recently you watched one of their posted videos. Because there's just been random times where really, like, again, I'm not going to just say my whole subscriptions list or anything, but there are some like oddball channels that I watch that I'm subscribed to. They might post a video only every 3 months. And 2 months into a dry spell of them not having posted a video, they're at the bottom of my list. A week later, after they posted and I watched the whole video, they'll be in the top 5 for the next day or two. So it's some kind of a blend. Like, and this isn't like a knock against PK, and I think he kind of understands, and maybe he doesn't, I don't know, but I was second on that list. I'm quite sure that it has nothing to do with like me being the second most watched, because one thing I wanted to say, as recently as a few months ago, I think Rusty didn't even know I had my own channel, or maybe that was several months ago. I get so mixed up on my time, but remember how we did the podcast on our own channels? Yeah. He was always watching it on yours, and then a year after we started the podcast, last March, the new channel was birthed, PokeFlipz, and I think it was a few months after PokeFlipz got its own channel that he like found out that I had a channel. So there's no way that I would be the second highest view count based on all that. And then just from my own experiences looking at who's on my list in the order they're in. I don't know how it's sorted, but it's definitely not sorted just by raw view time.
I wouldn't think so, no. But at least you made it onto his list. I just got I barely got an honorable mention.
It was funny because he said something about like, yeah, Nick doesn't really post YouTube videos anymore, but oh man. Let me see.
But I'm a changed man now. We're getting back into the YouTube grind.
Every Wednesday, right? Every Wednesday you're giving away your whole collection, I heard.
It was funny. I almost forgot, or I had that Silver Tempest video uploaded onto YouTube already, and I had it scheduled to go live, but I set the date as today actually. So luckily I went back and realized that I had set the date for today and changed it to yesterday, or else I would have had to give Squeaks all my no damage Ninetales.
That'd be rough.
Nice.
Let's see. Smitty says, unpopular opinion, trophy cards are not that cool. You didn't even win the tournament. Set chase cards are better. I don't think that's that unpopular of opinion. I think trophy prices are really high because so few were made, but the market is also tiny for them. There are so few people out there willing to drop 4, 5, 6 figures on these trophy cards. The market's tiny. Yeah, I think that is the most popular opinion, masked as an unpopular opinion. I don't know why. Because yeah, very few people know or care at all about trophy cards. I mean, a lot of people, if they were like free, oh yeah, I'd take one. If they were like $50, oh yeah, I'd buy one instead of XYZ, Evolutions, Charizard, whatever. But yeah, most people don't care at all and don't interact with them at all. So I think that's pretty popular.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't like trophy cards. I can't ever see owning one, and even if I had the money, I wouldn't want one. There's so many other things that I would want before I get into trophy cards. I would definitely need to like win the Powerball and just have an unlimited budget before I ever thought about getting into trophy cards.
And that's very, very reasonable, and that's most people's take. I think that is like you give most people, like going back to last June, Rusty was offering 90, and you give most people 90K, they're not coming to me for my trophy card. Most people are not. Rusty did. I mean, Rusty did, and I declined it, but he was one of maybe. He might have been the only one. He might have been the one person willing to pay the most in the world at that time at that specific time, right? So yeah, very, very popular opinion, I think. I'm an early EX era CGC slab collector. Should I sell all my 9.5s and only collect 10s? Will CGC grade enough 10s to make this worthwhile long term? We can't answer that. That's up to you. I mean, whatever is the best value to you, whatever brings you the most joy, whatever you desire to collect.
Yeah.
Unless it's dollars and cents. If it's a dollars and cents question, I guess we could try our best at answering it. But yeah, what do you think if it's a dollars and cents?
Oh, 100%. Or should I sell all my and only collect 10s? If it's a dollar and cents thing, so wait, is it talking CGC 10s?
I'm not positive.
I would assume so.
Should I sell all my 9.5s and only collect CGC 10s? Yeah, I'm assuming he's talking CGC just because wondering if they'll grade enough to make it even achievable, I'm assuming.
I don't think it'll ever be something where you could build a CGC 10 set of whatever. I think that would be a near impossible goal unless you're talking like modern sets. But EX, WotC, I can't see it being possible. But in terms of value, like investment wise, I think the higher grade the better.
And even if it's in dollars and cents, it comes down to like, are you grading them yourself, or are you paying full buy it now market price premiums? Are you picking them up at auctions here and there? There's just so many moving parts that I can't make a definitive statement, I guess. But I like 10s a lot better than I like 8s, just because 10s are going to be harder to replicate, whereas these are mass-produced set cards, and I think the pops on the lower grades will go up higher proportionally.
Oh, sounds like you're turning around on my perfect 10 Squirtle. That's actually a good buy now, isn't it?
It all comes down to what you pay, and you paid way too much. The pop won't go up on that super drastically, but yeah, when you pay such an optimistic price, I'm not too bullish on it long term. But at the end of the day, I think you have very reasonable expectations for it. Very little expectations. You just bought that more as a consumer, as a collector, and you're not going to be broke on the street if that thing doesn't 5x in 10 years. You didn't buy it on credit. You bought that the right way, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
Mike Z has a good question. We go back to 20,000 and 200 sales before a 1099 is issued. Would this be good or bad for the market? Guessing consignments may go down. Thoughts on all of it? Yes, we all pay our taxes regardless. I think that the biggest good that will come of lower 1099 thresholds is that I think tons of people playing that 19,900 in sales game, I think that they're just hurting themselves more than they think they're helping themselves by evading taxes. Short-term gain, long-term pain. I think 99% of people, if they just did it the right way, did it above board, did it legitimately, got the reseller's license, stopped paying sales taxes on items purchased for resale, getting hooked up with distributors, just doing it all above board, if they're serious about it, I think most people will be in better shape years down the line. And there's a lot of legal ways. Tax avoidance, legal, good business. Tax evasion, illegal, bad. And most people evading taxes are doing it to their own detriment. But they're too ignorant or too unwise, I guess, to see, to put it as nicely as I can.
Yeah, I don't think it would have. I don't think it has had much effect at all. I know they changed it to where that's not going to go into effect this year. But that was like a recent change, and we went through this whole year thinking that it was going to be basically if you sold anything, you would get a 1099, and I didn't notice any type of like lower listing volume or sales volume on eBay, whatever. There's still a ton of stuff listed on eBay, so I imagine there was some people who stopped selling on eBay because of that, but it's the vast minority of people, to the point where I don't even think you would notice a change. But yeah, like Dan was saying, the 1099 thing isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, I don't think it has huge. It has very big individual effects, but I don't think it has big market effects at the end of the day, because people who are like skirting it, doing themselves a disservice, they're not a huge portion of the market inherently, right? Because they're only doing 19,900 a year or whatever it may be. They're so I guess I didn't directly answer the question, but it's not good or bad. It's fairly irrelevant to the market, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I do think it would have an effect on consignments. A larger, I think there would be. I don't think it would be. I don't think it would be drastic, but I think it would be more drastic than the overall market. That's a big perk for some people to consign cards through Heritage, PWCC, James, Dan, me, Rusty, whoever. But I do think that would have you would see more of an effect with that for sure.
I highly agree with that. I think more than the $20,000 threshold going down to $600. I think if or when consigners have to start issuing 1099s to consignees, I think you will see sales volume go down substantially, because I think it's kind of a widely known secret that a lot of people utilize those types of services to more easily circumvent IRS reporting and things like that. Not at all advocating for that, but that's one way that people get around it. And a lot of people who use consignment services are doing things properly, doing them above board, reporting everything, but a lot of people that aren't too. So I would not be surprised if, yeah, that had a bigger effect, because if and when myself, Nick, Rusty, James, Probstein, if we started having to take your social security number to issue a 1099 at the year end for what we paid out to you, if and when Heritage, PWCC, Golden, all these companies had to do that, same way eBay and PayPal do, that would just a lot. I don't know what ultimately people would do. Maybe ultimately more people would like hop on board doing things legitimately. But a lot of people would kind of be scared away from it. They'd go to Instagram, Venmo, Zelle, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, it would just make the market harder to traverse. And that's why I think everyone just doing everything above board in the right way and documented sales, adding to like all these websites that track at Pokedata, Pokemon price. I think the more transparency and the more price history we have out there, the better for everybody. And then, as I said, like the whole just tax evasion thing, people stunt their own business growth, stunt their own side hustle growth, trying to circumvent these. I mean, at the end of the day, like people just really are weird with the whole tax situation. Like at the end of the day, it's pretty. I mean, you pay a % of net profits, not gross, and there's a lot of legal ways to just lower your tax burden. I mean, I talk about investing in IRAs and 401ks pre-tax, and there's so many other ways, non-investing wise, to do it too. But there's a lot of bad information out there too. From different, I saw a couple scary YouTube videos and TikToks linked recently with some very, very bad tax advice. It was kind of funny.
Oh.
Let's see. Oh yeah, when I was saying no one knows the YouTube algorithm, Java pushes back and says, "I'd say Mr. Beast has it figured out." Fair. There's always an exception to prove a rule,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
And I will say thank you to everyone. We've got 79 watching. We got 61 likes. I'm pretty sure we can get 8 more. I think we can get to 69 by the end of the stream. We're gonna go for about 15 more minutes. Thank you to everyone. The Zard Hunter called for it in chat. He said, let's get to 1.1K. And then we did. So appreciate you, Zard Hunter.
I just noticed that. That's exciting.
I just noticed it too. But yeah, he was calling for, he said 2 more to go. And then chat came together and they did it. So we got 1.1K. We appreciate all 1.1K of you who are subscribed. And we appreciate all of you who are not as well. Everyone who's watching, for sure. I think we're fully caught up. Here's one that just came in from Pikachu. Shout out to another person I saw. I think he made a face reveal on Jake's channel recently in the call-in show. What's the best piece of advice, not necessarily related to cards or collectibles, that you've received in your life? Wow. Pikachu is going deep with 15 minutes to go. Oh man.
Oh.
What's the best piece of advice? Brandon Baker said, we appreciate you too, just not as much. Fair, that's fair. I'll take it.
Thanks.
You want to go first here?
I was hoping you would go first so I could think of one. That's a tough one.
I mean, very cliche, very basic things that I would have heard in many variations over the years from many different people, but just like the core golden rule, going back to some of the drama, going back to some of the different negativity things, and just be nice to people. Don't be an asshole. Just do unto others as you want done unto you. However you want to say it, it's a million different ways. Just try to like make your presence on the planet a net positive. Try to be a net positive in the universe. And that's, I try to do that. I know I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Everyone's going to slip up. Everyone's going to get sucked into negativity and make mistakes. And we're all human, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, just try to be a general positive presence on the world. And then from like the finance side, from the business side, from the spend less than you earn and invest the rest. That's just a very basic core concept that will leave you in a happier life, I think, because money doesn't buy happiness, but having none of it, it's a constant, like, for way too many people due to poor financial education throughout school, throughout from your family, whoever. A lot of people just have a very bad relationship with money, and it's a constant drain on their life happiness. Again, it doesn't buy happiness, but a lot of people, money's just a constant stress because they have a bad relationship with it. So just general things about having a good relationship, healthy relationship with money, and not allowing it to drag your life down. Because I know too many people, paycheck to paycheck, that are just unhappy in their jobs, but they're stuck in their jobs. They buy things they don't need to try to make themselves happy, worsening their financial situations, number one cause for divorce, all that stuff. Money isn't everything, but it's very important, and you should be mindful of it, and you should have a good relationship with it. So there's my couple little rant things. What do you got?
That's good. I would say not sweating the small stuff and living each day to the fullest. That's what I came up with. No one specifically told me that, but that's two things that I like to live by, I guess. Where yeah, really just not getting, not letting the small things like ruin your day, or not like doing stuff that you want to do on a daily basis because you might be too busy or whatever. Just kind of, yeah. I guess that would be my two.
Mr. Walrus had a good one to add. Don't cry over money, it won't cry over you. I like that. Oh, Brandon Baker, that wasn't geared towards us. That was geared toward non-subscribers. So that was us saying, we appreciate you subscribers. We appreciate you too, non-subscribers, just not as much. I thought he was saying that to us. That's funny. Basics quote is, yeah, leave your quotes in chat and I'll read them off. We've got 9 more minutes. I'm gonna answer whatever questions come in that we can fit in, but leave that was a very good question. So I'm gonna put his question back up on, what's the best piece of advice, not necessarily related to cards or collectibles, that you've received in your life? So feel free to leave your answers in chat. I'll pop them up periodically and I'll rattle them off before we finish. But in the meantime, I'll take this question. Where'd it go? What's the lowest margin? What's the lowest margin you'd make a play for when buying a collection? People always ask for like singular numbers, singular rules of thumb. It really doesn't work that way. It all depends on like one item. Say there's a theoretical $50,000 item that I know cash in hand, guaranteed, my best buyer always comes through. If I know that I can sell that thing the next day for $52K, like no risk, I'm talking, I get them almost like I drop ship it. If I can middleman a transaction, theoretically, if the numbers were right, I might do it for a 1% or less. I might do it for like, I might make for a really good customer I might make $500 on $50K if it's just a guaranteed open shut, no risk deal. Highly unlikely scenario. I just want to paint a picture of like, you can't set a percentage because of that reason. Now, when I buy a $48,000 binder collection that's going to take me a year to work through, and I have to put tens of thousands of dollars into grading fees, I need to double my money or more, because that's a ton of work. You're talking about one circumstance where it's receiving from my PO box, slapping a new label on it, and forwarding it to someone else, and then you're comparing that to something that's thousands of hours of work or hundreds of hours of work, and so it's always going to be based on the specific scenario, based on the specific circumstances. But very broadly, very generally, 20%, 30% margins, maybe. Just if I have to pull a number out, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree with you. It really, like you said, if there was that $50,000 deal where you could immediately flip it and make $1,000, I would be perfectly content with that. But generally speaking, between 60 and 70% is what I usually pay.
Some of these quotes are hilarious, and I can't wait to read them. Let me hit Mr. Wallace's.
I actually liked I was gonna say I like Mr. Walrus's question. I had
Yeah,
an answer for that one.
I'll hit that one now, and then we'll read all the funny quotes to end it for the last 5 minutes. But if you want to take it and go first.
Yeah. So so Mr. Walrus asked about I can't find it now, but oh, here we go. With the growth you're both having, are you adding logo branded shipping supplies? Example, stickers, tape, bubble mailers, all that stuff. So I do stickers with my website orders. And then as far as other packaging supplies, there's a company out there called Shipping Shield that makes cardboard similar to top loaders, except they're cardboard, and you can get your logo printed onto those shipping shields. And I had actually considered doing that for a minute, but then I looked at the cost of it, and it was a fair bit more expensive, which makes sense because you're custom printing that stuff. And so I decided against it just because I think business cards is a good idea, but then when you start getting into like tape, top loaders, bubble mailers with your logo on it, I think it's more so companies that have a lot of extra money spend to make their packaging look better. I don't think it'll help you in the long run. I think it's more so for like these major companies who just are making too much money and don't have a way to spend all that money. That's when you can start looking into custom packaging and stuff like that. But for me, I think the cheaper the better for packaging supplies.
Some of these quotes are hilarious. Some like really, really just good quotes to begin with, but some are just really funny too. Quick answer for me to largely what Nick said. I've looked into it very briefly. Prices seemed high. I would rather just do nice business card. I might add stickers at some point, but overall, packaging gets thrown away, so I don't want to spend a lot of time or money looking into like something that's going to ultimately get tossed. Business cards, to be fair, most of those are probably ending up in the trash too. But if people scan that QR code and go to my link tree, they might click my affiliate link and they might keep it. They might cherish it. They might hang on to it.
They
but
might cherish it.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's hit a couple quotes now. Grease Game World says, "Don't take shit. Snitches get hit." Dan 2023. I don't recall saying that, but I like it. Treat people how you want to be treated. That was kind of like the golden rule thing that I said. It said all the way down to like pre-K. You start hearing it from your teachers all the way up through school. Very just cliche life advice, but just good. The golden rule, I believe. Paul Clark says, "Man who go to bed with itchy butt, wake with smelly finger."
I've heard that one before.
I've never heard that, but that's hilarious. Oh my god. Ghetto says, "Buy Pokemon cards, don't sell Pokemon cards." Fresh Tat says, "Never get high on your own supply." Very, very relevant for the industry we are in. Very relevant in other industries. Hopefully we're not involved in. I'm personally not involved in them. But yeah, hopefully not applicable for other circumstances, but it is a serious risk in these Pokemon markets, in these cardboard markets, that you end up ripping too much of your own supply, gambling, and doing negative EV ventures, or just tying up too much capital in your collection and then not like having enough to function as a business. Anton Timosin says, "Be water. They hate us because they ain't us. I don't know if that's a typo or intended. If you grade it, they will buy it. Be careful on that one, because ultimately, one day, sports knows $1 bins that don't sell. And I think it's in our future. People disagree, but I think it's in our future." Jesse says, "Decide what to be and go be it."
A good one.
Mr. Walrus says, "Junk slabs don't exist to whatnot buyers." I would say not whatnot buyers. I would say to the mystery bag buyers. Brandon Baker with a good one. "You're an average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." There's another one on that same front that's like If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. That's kind of in the same vein. Genuine happiness should always be the ROI, basic trainer. This is a really good one too, I think. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is a choice. Brandon Baker hitting us with that one.
That's a good one right there.
Yeah. And honestly, like, you need to be a little careful with it because some people really do have very, very bad life circumstances through no fault of their own. And if you say that to the wrong person, coming from a background of like very, very few difficulties. Like I was very privileged to just grow up in like a happy, healthy household and all that stuff. If you say that to the wrong person who like has seen and gone through a lot of shit, it can be like fairly out of place. But in general, I broadly agree with that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Ancient Mew says, "Tax this dick, Benjamin Franklin." He may or may not have said that, but I do know to quote.
The Benjamin Franklin.
What was the NG Emporium's quote? "It's hot as dick in here."
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna do a few more and then we're gonna sign off. We are at 4:30. Just a reminder, quick, and let me know. I will try to get this up to Anchor tomorrow. Reminding myself more than anything. 2 weeks from today, 1 p.m. Eastern to 4:30 p.m. Eastern. I don't know that we'll have Squeaks for the whole time, but we should have Squeaks for some amount of that. He is our next guest, so feel free to leave your questions for Squeaks, Nick, or myself, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Anything else to add in closing? I'm going to rattle off a couple more of these and then end stream just abruptly on a good quote, I think.
You gotta end with Mr. Walrus' latest one.
Okay.
That's great. But no, thanks everyone for watching. Do appreciate the support. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. And yeah, looking forward to next week with Squeaks. That'll be a fun one.
I'm gonna end on Mr. Walrus's, so no new quotes will be read, but I'm gonna hit that one. And Anton Timosin, if you can't change the circumstances, let the circumstances change you. Brandon Baker says, knowledge is not power until it is applied. There's a solid one. Brandon Baker also says, experience the pain of discipline now or experience the pain of regret later. There's a solid one. Your average player says, I feel like some of us should quit Pokemon for comedy.
Yes, I agree with her.
Mr. Walrus says, what's the lowest you'll take? How I asked out my wife the first time. If you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes the sacrifice. There's a good one. KDuff Live says, who you choose to be around lets you know who you are. Pokebondo says, if you fail to prepare, you're preparing yourself to fail. Naran Ice says, if you're not taking enough losses, you're losing. I think Squeaks mentioned that in a live stream chat. If you're not ever losing,
that sounds familiar.
Basically, if you're not ever losing, you're not taking enough risks. So you're losing due to not taking enough risks. G1T Landon says it's only after you've lost everything that you're free to do anything. Maybuck says peace, love, and joy. Don't be a dickhead. Kind of like the whole golden rule thing. And the final one to end it, and we will catch you all later. We will catch you all in 2 weeks with Squeaks. Mr. Walrus, my life is a routine. I poop at 8 a.m. every day. Problem is I wake up at 9 a.m.